Well, welcome everyone. This is Michael Silvers, Executive Vice President with Power Team, and just wanted to welcome everybody to the call today. We're going to go live in a minute, but the beautiful part about this is nobody's really on this, so nobody's really listening. So if you can go into your Facebook pages and you can share this, that would be fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. I'm going to create a watch party and I'm going to start a watch party. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Twitch feed, and I'm going to host. So in Twitch, you're actually hosting. So before we get going, you become a host in Twitch. I'm going to go to Power Team Global in Twitch, open up my Twitch, and I'm going to go ahead and host a channel. It's the little up arrow towards the top on the right side. You host a channel. I'm going to say hello to myself, and then we're going to go from there. Fantastic. All right, so I wanted to thank you all for being on. My name is Michael Silver, Senior Vice President of Global Training for Power Team. I'm going to move around a little bit because I can't sit still. We have an amazing panel on today. The panel will get going in just a little bit here. We haven't officially started. We don't start for 3 more minutes. We give people time to come on because it takes you time to get on. If you have any questions, we are live on the comment board and can take questions. So this is an interactive. This is not we talk at you. The great thing about it is we're going to have a VIP panel first, and you're going to be able to connect with them. We're also going to have Michael Drew, who's launched many books in the industry, and he's just an amazing, amazing man. You'll hear what he has to say. We'll have Mr. Bill Walsh on to really drive the power of your business to the next level. We're going to talk about internet marketing and social media, which is an important piece. I'm going to give a paradigm of masterminds and how that works within your own business. We're going to talk about gamification within structure of business and being an entrepreneur. We got another amazing panel to go, and then I'm going to wrap it up by a little bit of business training for anybody who's still on the line. We got 3 hours from now, and then I let you all go. So get something to drink. I've got some Pellegrino ready to go. Move yourself around. Get the big music going. Pick the show. We are on the road. Get yourself something to eat or drink right now, and in 2 minutes, we officially start. Share this with everybody that you know. Share this with every single person that you know, because what that does is that helps you bring more people into your world and will understand what you're doing. For those that share it quickly right now, here, I'll put up a little gift. I'll give everybody a little gift. Gifts are good. I'll give you a copy of Bill's book. If you just text the word obvious to 26786 now. And if you share this on your social media, how's that? Right? I'm only going to keep that up for another minute, but he'll give away some present later. He always does. But if you want a copy of Bill's book, text the word obvious to 26786 now. If you share this stream on your social media, right? Because we'll ask you that question. It's important to bring others into your framework and really, what that is for you. So we're going to start here in just about a minute, and then we're going to rock and roll. I'm going to give you a little history of Power Team. I'm going to show you how we shifted really quickly to create this virtual suite. The other thing, too, I wanted everybody to know is we have a huge summit next Wednesday. It is East Coast time because it's replacing one of our live events. We're going to start at about 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to go till about 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And we have amazing speakers. We have iHeartRadio, iHeart Media on with us. We have brilliance from a gentleman who's been in front of 8 million people and is going to just change your mindset, move you forward. Business techniques and ideas, social media marketing, Instagram. We've got everything that day. So just go to globalelevationsummit.com, globalelevationsummit.com, and be with us next Wednesday. It's on a Zoom. We're also going to have networking. We do this together as a group. You're not alone, and that makes a big difference. All right, so everybody finish sharing. Here we go. We have officially begun. My name is Michael Silvers. I'm Senior Vice President for Global Training with Power Team. Give yourselves a round of applause for being on today. We have an amazing lineup. The word is lineup. You're going to be with us for 3 hours. Stay on as long as you can. Share with us later if you can, whatever that is for you. We are interactive. I'm going to say hello to everybody. We are interactive, so make sure that you type in the streams. My team will be watching that, answer questions. We'll get back to you if we need. It will make a big difference as we rock this thing forward. Really quickly about Power Team. Power Team in 2005, Mr. Bill Walsh decided to create one of the most amazing business courses on the planet. It's over on this side. I got it right this time. It's the Rainmaker Summit. It's 2.5-day business boot camp. The thing is that we really wanted to create something that he could sell to 200 people, and it sold to 3,000 people that year. Why? Because he partnered. He partnered with, hey, Peyton, how are you? He partnered with, I love when family jumps on. He partnered with, and not my family, by the way, but we'll get them on. He partnered with GoDaddy. He partnered, a little company back then. He partnered with Franklin Covey, and then he partnered with the Learning Annex, which was the largest promoter in the world at that point, and put him everywhere in the world. So that obviously blew the doors open on the business. And Bill knew where it was going to go, but he drove it. Hey, Lori Lynn, he drove it to that next level. The other thing that was really critical here is that then remember, right partnerships. Everybody write that down before we start rocking and rolling. Right partnerships. Then what happened is Bill decided that businesses need funding. So he created the Small Business Joint Venture Fund, which we still run today. And that was 2007. 2008, he realized they need to mastermind and work together. So he created Win Global Mastermind. We bring billionaires and people together with all of you so you can really work with them. We do it live. Okay. And at the same time, he also realized that to be a great speaker, there's things you needed to do. So he studied the greatest of the great for 2 years, created this Platinum Speaker Camp, which Bill Walsh, the CEO of Power Team, still runs today. Typically 25 a class and only twice a year. We just had one in June. Rock and roll. And those people are already on stage and virtual and getting out there within 60 days or less. So if that's something you want to do, we'll talk about that later. At the same time, we took a look at internet marketing. By 2012, we were now the main sponsor of the Small Business Expo. Now we're in front of like 100,000 businesses a year, and Bill's really cranking it along. By 2013-14, we had the internet marketing, the social media, and we created the Gold Program, which was the launch in the beginning of the local masterminds. And that's why I came on board a year ago. Who am I? All you need to know is that in the last 20 years, I've been on all the major stages. I've spoken in front of tens of thousands of people. That was actually just at some events. And I've impacted about 1 million lives out there. I ran the divisions for many of the large speakers out there for coaching training, and built the masterminds that you know and love, many of you in many different industries. I love to do what I do, and hopefully you also love to do what you do and be part of the greatness that you can be more of. So we are going to officially start now. That's a little bit about Power Team. We have 300 events a year. We have 10 hours of virtual a week. If you want to be part of that, if that's something that really floats your boat, excites you, you want to be part of something that's it's not about growing. It's 15 years and we're huge in the industry. But if it's something you say, events, and yeah, live events, we switched. So Bill and I were sitting in Miami back in March and saw that our hotel went from 90% occupancy to about 18%. So we created this whole virtual online system. Within 10 days, Bill, we had our first launch with Mark Victor Hansen and Sharon Lechter, who Rich Dad Poor Dad. And we just have rocked the world since virtually, and we're already starting to look at the live events. We've had 2 that have been virtual and live, and they've been amazing. And we're going to ramp up more of those. We're going to go back to do our Inspiration 2020s, which are our big events, and we're just taking it by storm. But we're doing it as a team and a partnership. So if you want to be part of a team and a partnership, you do this right now. I don't take people who think about things. Just text SBA to 26786. You're going to reach me directly. I will get right back to you. I will let you know what my calendar looks like next week. You're going to meet with me. I have time tomorrow. We're going to talk. We're going to see how you fit, how we fit you, what you need. All 15-minute power session with you. I don't do that all the time because I do run a lot of the divisions, but we are huge now virtually, and we have VIP slots. We have keynotes, and most of the keynotes are full. But we have a way to work with you and you work with us. Again, think of it this way. This group has over 300 live events a year when we go fully live. And we have a virtual suite And we're also on many of the big stages. Get that? And we train many of the big people. Mark Victor Hansen's been to Rainmaker, right? You know, the man's written like, you know, what, 700 million books out there? Okay, you just need to listen to people like that. So be part of our team. Look to see if it fits for you. Don't say no until you talk to me, but be serious. If I text you and we set up an appointment, you be there at that appointment. I will always have something to do because I worked with Zig Ziglar. And he always told me when you get to an appointment, bring something to do because you never know if they're going to show up. I do that today. And sometimes I'll do it as a group call if there's a lot of you, so we can really talk it out and see who's the right fit. So just text SBA to 26786. Do it now. Text SBA to 26786. Be part of the team. We're growing, we're flying, life is good. And we are going to move on. So it's a great day. I want to thank all of you for being here. I'm excited to have you in our environment of learning and education. Just to give you a grounding very quickly again, we're going to go into our VIP panel. Then we have a powerful talk about a book and an author and really how to get your message out there. That's really what it's about. Then we're going to have a powerful talk about business and how it looks and really our Rainmaker program. We're going to go, I'll do a little piece just on masterminds, and then we're going to go into internet and social media marketing. We're going to talk a little gamification, another VIP panel, and then I'll wrap it up with a business really paradigm of how you drive your business into a funnel, how you make money now, not tomorrow. I'm not going to give you concepts you can sit on for 6 weeks. This is stuff you're going to start using. I don't even know what today is, tomorrow, Friday. And make sure that you really rock the world out there. So without any further ado, and I'm so excited to bring our panelists up. Now, sometimes microphones don't work. Sometimes things don't go as smooth as you want, and it's fine. Go with the flow. I've done 5,000 webinars. Things happen. I used to have people in North Queensland in Australia with the mics in their cars and no air conditioning and sweating, and you could hardly hear what they said, and it was still a great call. So without any further ado, let's bring up Mr. Rob Hanley, Christy Duvall, and Emily Letran. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
It is a great day. I just love having you all on. You know, and it really, see, I'm getting so excited. I'm like, my throat's closing up. But it's great to have all of you there and just be excited to have you do it. Rob, you got to stop typing. So it's great to have all of you there and just the excitement that we're doing to move this forward. So what I want to do is we're going to start. Oh, you're not. Oh, it might be Emily. Somebody's typing. Anybody typing, or we're just getting background? Okay, good. So, you know, the big thing that always comes up is, first of all, people are going to say, who are you? So if you could take, 30 seconds or a minute, just let them know a little bit about your background, who you are, and why you're here today, that would be fantastic. Rob, usually I go with the ladies first.
Ladies first, actually.
I always go with the ladies first, and I've gotten comments, please, and start with a man once. So I'm starting with you this time, Rob.
Hey, sure. So, first of all, thanks for inviting me. It's a real pleasure and a real honor to be here. Our longtime friendship, and Bill Walsh is like the man. So this is really, really, really cool. Briefly about me, I've been a digital entrepreneur really ever since there's been a digital. So I've been working on the internet since pretty much day one. I've had very, very large affiliate companies, highly entrepreneurial. I've always thought if there's something that's good and beneficial that is well positioned in the marketplace, it's going to be a value add to customer. I got good profit out of it, and it's something that I can get behind. Timing is good. I'm usually kind of that guy. So I publish a digital magazine right now in the mental health space. I like forex trading and cryptocurrency and different stuff like that. And I think it's a good time for those that can keep their sanity.
Yeah, that's, it's great. And actually, the magazine that you published, you have just amazing amount of heavy hitters on there, like all the time. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, okay?
Cool.
Awesome. Christy, a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Christy Duvall, and I live in Austin, Texas. And I've been an entrepreneur basically since I got my degree. Just the corporate thing just wasn't my thing. So the last 15 years, I've been doing full-time in residential and commercial real estate, a lot of it on the creative finance side, and helping people just show them how they can do that in a variety of ways. What's interesting right now is the major changes that are coming along, and so things are really kind of exciting and happening, and so it's a critical time for people to focus and really learn some of the new things that are out there. and being involved with you, Michael, and the Power Team has been such a huge part of my success.
Awesome. Fantastic. And Dr. Letran, I know your signal's been off and on, but if you can hear us and answer that question, that'd be great. And you're on mute at the moment.
Unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Well, thank you so much. I know I do a lot of Zoom meetings and everything, and for some reason it's not working well today, the internet, but I am the best mom in the world. I am a high performance coach and a business consultant, a speaker, and I'm also trained as a dentist. So what I bring is
Yes.
the high performance mindset, the strategies to maximize your potential, streamline business, and increase profits.
I like that.
Excellent. You're amazing. And I'll tell you right now, Emily's doing whatever it takes because, right, the computer first didn't work. She jumped on her phone. She's moving her location. And that's the kind of people that we want to work with. So in everything that you do in life, there's either a book or a podcast. There's something that creates who you were or even gets you up every morning. I had a great call the other day about talking about podcasting now and how podcasting is people are listening to those to wake up in the morning. Some people are using just their gratitude exercises. It might be a book. Some people still Think and Grow Rich, right? They're tearing it open every single day. But in your lives, what is either one book, one podcast, something that keeps you moving every day, you learn from, maybe it set you on the course you're on now, and just tell the audience a little bit about how do you read it, do you listen to it, do you work with it, what does it do for you? So Christy, I'm going to have you go first.
Well, Michael, the number one book that changed my life has been Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And it also made it required reading and that program for my daughter, and it has helped her and other people in her life tremendously. And I think it's important because our mind is critical for everything we do.
I love it. You know, it's so true because it is that it's the mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Totally.
the absolute mindset, and it's that ability to also get it done. It's, are you going to take action or are you going to ready, fire, aim? Some of us know that term, but are you going to take action on what you're going to get done? It was great. It's like when I went to Rainmaker a couple of years ago and I'd been all these courses and Bill laid out the money of how you look at your business and how you put the numbers here and there. And I went, after all these years, that's why you go to the masters and the mentors, because it's simple, but you got to put it into action and you got to have somebody teach you and you got to have somebody who's there to watch what you're doing. And it will change your life that way. So, Emily, take that same question.
Yes, so I would say the one book that keep me going is Think and Grow Rich, and I'm actually in my the little office, and I'm looking at the 17 principles of Napoleon Hill's Law of Success. I hang it up right in front of me. Definite a purpose is clarity is what we need to guide us, and the positive mental attitude. One of my favorite quotes is tough times never last, but tough people do. So I use that as a guidance for my everyday life.
That's fantastic. And you know, you've also spoken on many stages now. You're out there speaking everywhere. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Rob, same question.
It's the putting myself out there and making the connection.
So
That's
awesome.
right.
So awesome. Well, I love to read, and it's a difficult question to ask, so I'll kind of reframe it a little bit because there's so many different books that I have read that have impacted me and changed me. I'm a big, like Emily, I'm a big Napoleon Hill student. I've read Think and Grow Rich. I don't even know how many times I've read it. So definiteness of purpose. How cool is it that my 16-year-old daughter is now reading Think and Grow Rich as well? And then I just happen to have my latest copy of something I didn't even know existed, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil, which was only published by the way, Sharon Lecturn, who you just mentioned a moment ago, from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Really cool. It wasn't published until 10 years ago. And here's another one that I like too. I love Joseph Murphy, Cosmic Laws of Cosmic Mind Power. So I'm kind of somebody that's very easily influenced. Whatever it is that I'm reading, I think is the greatest thing ever. But one book that really impacted me more than any, I read about 2 years ago, and that was Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and I'm trying to think of the other guy's name, a couple of Navy SEALs, and about taking personal responsibility for every single situation in your life. Things that you'd say that normally people would say, well, that wasn't my fault, that was somebody else or something, but the whole mentality that you made a decision that led to that kind of a thing, you could have done something different. And so it's very empowering that it gives you this sense that things are within your control. You could say, well, my house was blown away by a hurricane. How was that my fault? Well, you chose to live in New Orleans. You chose to live in the Panhandle. So you could have lived, there's something else you could have done or something else that you could do that would be different, that would lead to a different outcome. And I love the sense of control that you get from the extreme ownership type of an attitude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's, it is taking ownership and responsibility for what we do. And instead of empowering the situation, we can empower ourselves. And that is a critical piece for everything that we do. When it comes to reaching out, we're not done with the VIP panel, but these panelists are there for you. And the panelists are there for you to answer questions. You can just go to ipowerteam.com/freedom. ipowerteam.com/freedom. You can find one of the panelists' name, fill out the information, and they will connect with you directly. If you don't see the panelists on there for any reason, you can just text me again, text SBA to 26786. I will reach out to you and I will let you know how to reach out to them, and I'll make sure that they get your information. But right now, go to ipowerteam.com/freedom, find their name, and they are willing to do a power session with you because it's about you, not about us, as we do this panel. So with everybody listening right now, what are 3 things they can do right now to impact their life? They get off this call in another 2 hours and 40 minutes because they're going to stay on the whole time. But when they get off this call tonight, what can they do? What are 3 things they can do that will impact their life, impact their business, move them forward? Tips that you have for what you do on a daily basis so that they could start using it tomorrow. And with that, I'll turn this over to Rob.
Terrific. Well, the first thing is you might be in some kind of an industry that I'm a big believer that things are, it's very obvious. Things have radically changed in the last 6 months. And I think that things are going to be radically different in the following 6 months. Hopefully we have some kind of a V-shaped recovery, but I don't know that you can hold your breath for it. There's a lot of businesses that have been wiped out. So if you're in a great growth business, perhaps Chris is or Emily is, myself, like I said, I publish in mental health. We're always going to have that. It's pretty evergreen. But if you are not, if you're in something that's kind of been wiped out, then start to take an inventory right now and look at this as a blessing and figure out, well, what is it that you like to do and what is likely to be something that's marketable in the coming, in the next year, 6 months or something like that. That's kind of the first thing. Second thing is take an inventory of your own skill sets. What is it that you're good at? And then the last thing is very simple is take action. There's a saying I think I got from Napoleon Hill. It's that people often say that knowledge is power, but it's not power. Organized knowledge that is acted upon is actually power. And so take some kind of action. I find for me personally that the hardest part of anything is just getting started. So there really is no wrong direction. There's just, unless you do nothing whatsoever, but take some kind of action forward to do something. That's what I would say in terms of a quick summary for 3 things.
Awesome. That was fantastic. I'm not going to even have to plus that. It's that action piece. And we all saw the famous movie, The Secret, right? Way back. I was in Australia when that thing was hitting big. And if you ask everybody who was part of that, which we know a lot of them, obviously, everybody said, the one piece they missed was that action piece, was that goal setting and action, because the thought process and your mindset and think, but then you got to get some motion going. And that's a big piece, Rob. Christy.
Well, the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, yes, we're all really focused on the business, which is dynamic, but we have to take care of our health first. I spent so many years just stressed, go, 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 and then ended up with a severe health issue all last year. So it gave me a completely different perspective. But when we take care of our health, both mental and physical, they're both very important, then it gives us more energy and a better position to be in to go out and take that action, to decide what it is that we want to do next and that kind of thing. And, you know, I just think it's really critical. The other thing is getting very clear about where you really are and where you really want to go. Because it's easy to just keep moving forward and not really get clear about what it is, where you are, crystal clear. And that's true with all of us, whether we're successful or we're not, or we're in between, is really knowing that. And then where do you want to go? And then the action piece comes in. Everybody needs to get in place some sort of passive cash flow right now, whether it's something online, whether it's something you know how to do, and you can help teach other people how to do it. People need to get creative and definitely get a passive cash flow setup of some sort.
That's right. And that is so true because, what we hear all the time in our industry is, I don't want to go through that again, right? The 2000 crash, the 2008, it's going to happen. It's cyclical. All right. Things now, COVID's a different one, but something else is going to come up. And are you positioned to get through it? Do you have multiple streams of income with multiple streams of passive income so you can work through anything that comes up? And have you left your family in a position that they don't have to worry about it? And that's a really big piece. So, Emily, can you hear us again? I know you faded off for a second.
Yes, so I would say you have a business. During this kind of difficult time, the very first thing is to connect with your existing customers or clients. Send that email out that you say you're going to send, right? Remind them of the importance of doing business with you, the benefits that you provide, the connections that you can introduce them to. So connect with your existing customer. The second thing is to make sure you position yourself as an authority. I know Bill teaches, speaking, and I actually just launched a book today about women empowerment. It's doing the things that make you stand out. You're not just.
Oh, we lost her. I was going to ask her where to get her book too. So hopefully she'll come back in a minute. She had us riveted. It is really important, that empowerment piece. It's not about just empowering ourselves. Oh, she's back. Let me see if I can grab her again.
Can you see me?
Yes, now we can. You're good again.
Okay, I'm just gonna repeat this real quick because I think there's something wrong with my internet. The second thing is positioning as an authority. Write a book, speak, write a blog, be all over on social media so people see you, people remember you, you're top of mind. You're not just another coach or another dentist, another attorney. There's something different about you. You're positioning yourself as an authority. And the third thing is to make the micro moments count, to make it sensational, to make it remarkable. When you talk to people, tell them stories. When you send out an email.
All right. And it is about positioning yourself. It's interesting. I was going to say that we actually, it was a dentist about 4 years ago, went through one of the courses that I ran. And in her mind, she was a dentist. All right, good. We got her back one more time. I'll put her up one more time. All right. We can hear you again.
Can you?
Yeah, we were on number 3.
Really, really sorry.
Don't worry.
This happened to me. Yeah, but those are my tips.
And what's the name of your book?
Authority positioning. Connect with your customers, and make the micro moments count.
And what's the name of your book? Oh, we'll get that to you all. So, and it's.
What was the question again?
What is the name of your book? Oh, it's all good. So it is that piece. It's really, can we Can we drive forward? Can we make a difference? Is there, and also micromanaging, right? Because we talk about having virtual assistants, and we talk about, do you delegate and get those things to other people, how critical that is. So with the couple, we only have a couple minutes left. What is one thing you want the audience to remember about you? And I'll flash again how they can connect with you. But what is one thing they should remember? Go, oh, Rob, I see his name on the list, and that triggers. Or one thing that you're great at. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I have a passion for learning and transferring and communicating information. And I have a passion for helping people. I think that's probably one of the main things. Probably the cornerstone of everything that I am, and every one of the speakers, yourself included, I'm sure, could say that. You kind of surprised me a little bit by the question. I was going to say is authenticity. I kind of pride myself, if you will, in not being pretentious, not pretending. I want to really have a desire to really connect with people as a real person, and then to be of service and value to them in any way that I possibly can. So, I haven't been asked that question before, so
I know. And but the thing is too, Rob, that a lot of people don't know is you've interviewed in the last couple of years. I mean, some of the top rock and roll stars, sports stars, entertainment stars, and you're still Rob. Right? You're no different. You're still that person who is an integrity. You play full out. You're there to help others, and that has never changed with everything that's gone on. And I applaud that. I think that's okay for people to know a little bit about who we are. And Christy, same question.
Just keep moving forward, no matter what knocks you down, whether it's physical, financial, emotional, relationships, whatever it is. You just got to get up and keep moving forward. And
I love that.
What I'm known for is, just and care for people on the way, but don't stop.
Don't stop. Everybody, go to ipowerteam.com/freedom. These are some of the best coaches on the planet, but they're not coaches, they're mentors. They have done things that you would probably like to be doing. How do I really interview the top of the top? How do I get my digital media out there? How do I get myself known? How do I stay current in the world? And our rock stars on here stay completely current is the beauty of what they do. And Christy, from commercial real estate to real estate to mindset to thought to moving you forward, whatever that is for you, these are people that you want to reach out to right now. So go to ipowerteam.com/freedom, hit that button. They will fill out the information. They will contact you directly. If for any reason you don't see them on there, or you can't figure out who you need to talk to, then I make it very simple for you with my wonderful ticker down below, which I love to no end. You just text SBA to 26786. Text SBA to 26786, and I will get you to who you need to go to. That will reach me directly. I want to thank our panelists for being on. You guys were rock stars today. I don't see Emily's picture come up, but if I did, I would put her up right now. I know she was. So Emily, Dr. Emily's great. She's brilliant. She speaks all over the world. So she's just brilliant at what she does. So thank you so much, all of you. Rob, Dr. Emily, and Christy, you guys have been awesome. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, though I know right now you're all in the U.S., but we have listeners from all around the world, and I'll talk to you all soon. Goodbye, you two.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Bye-bye. Pleasure.
It is really true that it's the connections, it's the people we know, it's that integrity piece that makes such a difference, and that's the people that we bring up because we do vet them. I've known Rob for, 15 years. I first saw him walk on a stage right after Harv Eker. So, and I've known him a long time, and I've seen what he's done and what he's built in this last couple of years with his magazine. And he's interviewed just about, I've interviewed big people, and he might be beating me. So it's just really been awesome to know. And Christy, I've known for, 10 years. And I know what she's created and what she's done, the battles she's gone through, the high-level mastermind she joins. These are people who just purchase everything because they invest in themselves. You want to invest in yourself to become better at what you do, and that's a critical piece. So schedule an appointment with them, ipowerteam.com/freedom. If, again, you just can't remember who, what, where after today when we're done, just text SBA to 26786. Text SBA to 26786. I will get back to you. That's me directly. When I text you with a 425 prefix, don't say, who is this, right? Just know it's me. Everybody got that part? Okay, fantastic. I've done this a long time. I know this goes. All right. I'm really excited for our next, this is one of our keynotes. This next gentleman and I have crossed paths in many different ways and really don't know each other. Isn't that the great? But what he's created has impacted my life, and hopefully something that I've worked on the back end has impacted his life. And there's always crossover because we help each other develop and become bigger at what we do. I think that's that piece that we just become greater. So I'm going to do the introduction. Now, remember, this is interactive. So first of all, you can make comments in the comment boxes. We will respond to that. If we don't get back to it, the team will. Secondly, this is our stages for now. So you can give a round of applause after the introduction. You could do whatever that is to bring them up because it creates energy that we still feel. Yeah, I'm not in front of 8,000 people right now bringing up somebody, but at the same time, it still creates that energy, and that energy is really critical as we move forward. So our next speaker, getting books noticed, is in Michael Drew's blood. Making books the essential reads that everyone needs to buy and talk about is in his genes. With a string of national bestsellers, many of them #1 titles, that reads like an all-star team of today's most popular business writers, Michael loves books. He's got a great name too, by the way. He's launched more than 100 consecutive books onto national bestseller list and has over 1,000 #1 Amazon titles. Now, you got to give that a round of applause. Michael has been marketing books for his entire career, perfecting his skills at such respected publishers as Bard Press, Entrepreneur Magazine, Longstreet Press, and Thomas Nelson Publishers, among many others. He has mastered the intricacies of publishing and has adopted today's fast-evolving industry, and it's moving incredibly fast. It's moving faster almost than the speaker world. Beyond merely helping their books to sell well, Michael also works with authors on the essential components of their continuing success, building a platform, very important, that will expand your audience. Through his speaking engagements, career coaching, and use of personas to intensify the effectiveness of copy, Michael's created a new generation of thought leaders. He has helped them to become more effective business men and women and men, how he had it, who nourish today's idea-hungry marketplace. Let's give a big, thunderous round of applause from Power Team, Michael Drew. How are you?
I'm doing marvelous. It's great to be here.
It's a great day, right?
It's an amazing day. It's a beautiful day, and it's an opportunity for each and every one of us to get out and share our voice.
Very much so. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience a little more. Thrill them, wow them, because I know what you've done. Let them know.
Well, I mean, part of it's kind of what's behind me. One of the other speakers, I think her name was Kat, mentioned her favorite book, which would be this book by T.R. Vecker. And this is where you and I first got connected.
Yep.
Because this book was one of my very first New York Times bestselling authors and books about 15 years ago. So, my background's in publishing. I used to be a publisher, worked for Bard Press, Longstreet, and beyond. And under the tutelage of the legendary publisher Ray Bard at Bard Press, I was able to really figure out how the book industry works. Now, the book industry, even today, and you said it's moving fast. It's moving fast because of one really important fact. And that fact is that the publishing industry is a very inane and archaic industry. We still are stuck in the past in many, many ways. It's still controlled by people in stuffy suits and stuffy offices in New York City for the most part. But under Ray Bard's tutelage, I was able to really learn the machinations and details of how publishing worked. And one of the very first things that I learned was that it's not about the book. It's about the platform. Now, I promoted the last book I put on the New York Times bestsellers list was Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. He was my 106th bestselling author. But in doing so, the reason for Russell's promotion, as with T.R. Vecker or anybody else, is the use of the book in the building of the platform. Now, the publishing industry, as I mentioned before, is inane and archaic, so controlled by some of the old suits. But what the internet has done and what technology has allowed is for the democratization of media, right? And so that includes everything from TV and radio and print, online with things like blogging and podcasting and YouTube and beyond have really replaced traditional media in non-traditional formats. And that's allowed many folks, many people who are here on this broadcast, to be able to build platforms that wouldn't have been accessible to them in the past. Now, what that's done is it's created more voices, more people willing to share their voice out there building their platforms, and more people publishing. When I started in publishing back in '99, there were 76,000 books published. Last year, there were 1,076,000 books published, right? The average retail bookstore only carries 100,000 unique titles. 70 to 80% of those titles are what we call backlist titles. So there's backlist titles and frontlist titles. A backlist title are your perennials, your classics, and last year's bestsellers. The frontlist titles are the books being published in a given quarter, right? Brand new titles that are coming out. So of the 1,076,000 books published last year, only 20 to 30,000 titles made it onto a retail bookstore shelf. Now, unfortunately, we'd all like to believe that best-selling books are based on the best content. They're not. Best-selling books are based on what they say, that they're best-selling. They sell more copies than other titles. And so what sells best is not necessarily what's going to be the best content, right? But because of this massive amount of competition for so little shelf space, publishers have moved away from their past ownership of the promotion and marketing of titles. Publishers today, and your publishers today, for the most part, they only edit, design, and distribute books. Because there isn't enough money in books in order to be able to compensate them to be able to do the marketing for most of their titles. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, what the publisher is looking for, which is what was mentioned a moment ago, is platform, right? They want to know the size of platform. And at the end of the day, if you write a really amazing, compelling book, what you've done is you've created something that creates a conversation. A book can never be the end-all, be-all. It is a linear piece of content that does not allow for engagement between the customer and the author. It's a great way to invoke a conversation, to start one, and to get people thinking about things and to get excited, but it's really only a conversation starter. A book for a platform can do one of two things. It can start a conversation, or it can deepen a relationship with your audience. And so what publishers then are looking for is you as the author to bring to the table the marketing, right? And as I mentioned, only 20 to 3,000 new titles every year even make it onto the retail shelves. So then let's look at what is the criteria to get a book on the shelf. What would make you one of the 20 to 30,000 titles that make it onto a shelf? Well, the retailers are really the heavyweights here. They're the elephant in the room that control everything. So you know, retailers are working 9 to 12 months out. So they are making decisions on if they're going to carry a title 9 months from now, right? And they have X amount of inventory. Like I said, in a given quarter, they'll have 10, 20,000 spaces that or less that they can put on their shelves. And so what they're looking for then is when they put your book on their shelf, how are you going to create sell-through of your title at their stores? And Barnes & Noble doesn't care how well a book sells at Amazon. And Amazon doesn't care how well a book sells at Books A Million. And Books A Million doesn't care how well a book sells at Hudson's. They individually only care about how well books sell at their individual stores. So the buyers at the retailers then use kind of a risk mitigation model in determining how many copies of a book to bring in, right? And so what they look at is, number one, how well did the author's last book sell at my stores? Number two, how well does the average book by this publisher sell at my stores? Number three, how well does the average book in this category sell at my stores? Based on the answer to that question, a book gets a grade of A, B, C, D, or F. And the grade level dictates the number of books on the shelf. So F would be 0, D might be 1 to 2 copies per store, C might be 3 to 5, B might be 7 to 10, and A might be 10 to 25 copies per store. You can do bigger than that for the Harry Potters of the world, but that's generally speaking what you look at when you're looking at getting books on the shelf. And by rule, the buyer at the retailer cannot increase, if they really like your title, if they think that you've done an amazing job, they can't increase the grade by more than one level. If they really love your book, they can go from F to D or D to C or C to B or B to A, but they can't go from F to B. Because again, the retailers are looking at how much money they make per square inch in their store. And so books take up, whatever the trim size of the book is, they take up space, and therefore they should equate to revenue. And so by rule, you can only increase your grade level distribution by one. And and that's usually when you come to the table with really, really good marketing, right? And that's the author's responsibility. Now, the other part of that, most people aren't aware, but every front list title that is on the retail shelf is paid for by the publisher. It's called co-op. It's merchandising in any other industry. But literally, if you see a book at the front of the store or face out on the aisle or face out in a section or even spine out, that's being paid for per unit by the publisher to the retailer, right? So if it's spine out, it might be $1 per book. If it's face out per category, $2, end cap $3, front of store $4, point of purchase $5 per unit. So you put 10,000 copies of a book at Barnes & Noble, and the publisher is going to pay $50,000, $30 to $50,000 to be able to put those books in the stores. And that's before anything sales. Now, the other thing to consider with the publishing industry is that books are 100% returnable by the retailer to the publisher. So if the publisher puts 10,000 copies of your book on the retailer shelves and the books don't sell, Barnes & Noble is going to return those books back to the publisher. And so the publisher would have paid for the printing and for the shipping and the co-op and all of the other expenses just to be able to put it out on the shelf. And so it's for these reasons that publishers don't do the marketing. Really, the very best that they can do, if you come to the table with proper marketing and PR support, is to maximize the number of books that they put on retail shelves. Right? Does that make sense, everybody? That the publisher is acting as a go-between between the author and the retailer, trying to help the retailers determine which books have the highest probability of creating sell-through. And therefore, the publishers work under a risk mitigation model similar to that of the retailers. And at the end of the day, it's about... I'm sorry?
Makes total sense.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's not about, for the publisher, it's not about the quality of the content. To the retailers, it's not about the quality of the content. It's about selling. So then for you as the author, as the speaker, consultant, business owner, it's about your use of the book in the growth of your business. Now, I've got 106 Wall Street Journal, USA Today, New York Times bestsellers. And my clients range from Tara Becker to Gary Keller with The One Thing, to the CEO of Yum Brands, to the CEO of MicroStrategies, to local folks like Garrett Gunderson of Wealth Factory, right? We run the gamut with clients. And what I tell my clients up front always is that the becoming a New York Times bestseller is the cherry on the top of the cake. It's not the cake. And it's not the icing, it's the cherry on the top. If you do all of the required things to be able to make the New York Times bestsellers list, the benefit of the New York Times is all of the activity and motion it takes to be able to hit the standards to be able to qualify for the New York Times bestsellers. Now, one thing I want to point out, I started in the industry over 20 years ago, and the criteria at the New York Times 20 years ago was distinctly different than it is today. I mean, I was able to make, with the Secret Formulas of the Wizard of Ads by Roy H. Williams, I was able to make the New York Times list, sending sales through Amazon and Barnes & Noble alone. But over the years, the New York Times has created additional criteria for qualifying. And I think it's important to note that the New York Times is not a real bestsellers list. Actually, none of the bestseller lists are true bestsellers lists. They're all some variation on a survey. Right, a sophisticated survey that looks at book sales and other data, but they're really more like a survey or a poll than they are an actual bestsellers list. And so when we look at trying to qualify for the various lists, we look at what are the standards and the qualifications to be able to hit the list. And as I said, when I started, making the New York Times bestsellers list was much easier, but they continue to change and add criteria. Now, do you think the audience would like to know what the standards are to make the New York Times list, or is that too much in the weeds?
Yeah, I mean, just watching our time, but I know everybody always talks about how do I make lists and how does that work? I think that's an interesting subject. We'll just watch our time on that, but go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So as of February of 2017, the New York Times instituted 5 standards. Now, a couple of these were there to begin with, but they instituted more standards. And the reason that the New York Times instituted these standards was that they were looking to make their list more sophisticated. They were looking to be able to validate why they were seeing sales. Now, you might think that the New York Times and other lists have electronic sales being recorded and reported to them live. That's not what happens. Now, there is something called BookScan, which impacts the Wall Street Journal list, but even that is not a complete system. It's not 100%, and it's not fully live, and they have their own issues, which we can talk about later if we have time. But what happens is every Monday, Barnes & Noble and Amazon and Books A Million and Hudson's and all of the independent retailers send an email with an Excel spreadsheet to a team at the New York Times who takes that data and manually compiles it into a list. And so what the New York Times is looking for is, why are they seeing these retailers report sales? And so they instituted new standards. So the first standard that they have now is retail distribution. And what that means is, if you don't have enough books on the shelf related to the number of sales that are being reported, the New York Times, even if you had every other standard, will exclude you from their list, right? This is true for all 5 standards. You need to hit all 5 of them in order to be able to qualify for the New York Times. So the first is retail distribution. And typically speaking, we're looking at hitting, trying to put 10 to 20,000 books on retail shelves. And this is where having a really good publisher comes in, because if you're doing all of the other marketing, then working with your publisher, they'll go out and work with the retailers and do the co-op buy and the things that I mentioned earlier that need to happen in order to be able to secure that retail shelf space, right? So that's the number one criteria, is retail distribution.
And you're right. We're not going to probably have time to go through them all, so you can zip through them, because I know what the audience wants to know too is, all right, if I'm going to get on that bestseller list, or I get on a bestseller list, what does that mean to me? And the question that always comes up too is I'm an entrepreneur. I want to write a book. I'm going to be a speaker on stage. I want to write a book. Okay, but I actually own a retail store. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a doctor. Why would I write a book? What does that mean to me? Those are the kind of questions that come in all the time.
Well, so there's a great questions, and what I want to observe with that is that I have clients like Dr. Bill Dorfman, who's a dentist. We have chiropractors that are clients, right? So if you sell a widget, it may not be a good fit, but if you work in any service industry beyond just coaching or consulting or speaking, which are their own industries, if you run any kind of service business, then the use of a book in the promotion of your business is very valuable. I said we've got 106 Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and New York Times bestsellers. 92 of them permanently increased their gross revenue by having a New York Times bestseller, right? By $1 million. 5 of them increased their gross revenue by more than $50 million per year. 2 of them increased their gross revenue by over $100 million a year. And then the rest of them we've done in the last 6 to 9 months. So we're still within the first year, but I'm confident every single one of them are going to fit into one of those 3 categories. And that's because, again, the value of the bestseller is one of the previous speakers said, you want to build your credibility and publish a book and all of that. Yeah, you want to do that, but it's bigger than that. You want to be able to get exposure. You want to be able to take your message to people that don't know you and deepen relationships with your existing audience. And meeting all of the 5 standards for the New York Times bestsellers list will actually help you do that. And I'll zip through the other 4 really quick. The second standard to make the New York Times is the number of books that we sell. We want to pre-sell at least 20,000 copies at the retail price, because those 20,000 sales need to go through the actual retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. And of the 20,000 sales, half of them have to be individual names and addresses. The other half can be individual names and addresses or bulk orders for various retailers. Every retailer has their own criteria for how they report. The third standard, New York Times used to have an ebook bestsellers list. They no longer have that, but they now use ebooks to validate whether a book should be included on their list or not. And so we want to look at roughly 7,000 to 10,000 ebook sales during the course of the bestseller campaign, usually at the peak week, the big week that we're aiming to make the list. And a side note, one of the benefits of figuring this out is that when we started, what we did is we built a book club to address it for most of our clients. But in doing so, we realized that there are Wall Street Journal and USA Today and other bestsellers lists that focus exclusively on ebooks, and that opened up a world of opportunity for authors that couldn't run the New York Times campaign. The fourth standard, again, standards are here to validate why they're seeing sales. So the fourth standard that the New York Times looks at is what they call online social proof. So what they're looking for is 350 bloggers in the month that your book is released talking about your book. They're looking for 100 conversations about it in YouTube videos. They're looking for 90 podcasters talking about your book. They're looking for 50,000 consumers on Facebook talking about your book, 50,000 consumers on Twitter talking about your book, 50,000 consumers on LinkedIn talking about your book, and 50,000 between Pinterest and Instagram talking about your book. And again, this is how they validate why they should include your sales. And so the final standard is traditional media. And so what they're looking for is they want to see that you've been in on TV in 100 markets throughout the U.S. They want to see that you've been in 100 markets on radio throughout the U.S. and that you've had your book discussed in 100 publications, newspapers, magazines, periodicals, newsletters, and beyond. And again, this is to validate why they're seeing in their mind why they're seeing the sales. Now, if you imagine hitting all of those standards, think about what that's going to do for your business. That's why I said the standard hitting the New York Times is just a nice outcome of doing these amazing, massive things that grow your business. The book is the precipitory event, if you will, that leads us into that. Now, the other question that you asked was about writing a book. Well, one of the first things that I want to point out, and I've used the term voice a lot. One of my clients, Garrett Gunderson, has a philosophy called sole purpose, and it's something that we've adopted in our company. And what Garrett believes and what I believe is that everyone is born with a sole purpose, an SOUL purpose, and that purpose isn't for you, but rather the service of for you serving your fellow man. And we've defined my sole purpose and the sole purpose of my agency as being about voice. We help our clients find their voice, test and refine their voice, and ultimately share and amplify their voice. Getting a book on the New York Times bestsellers list, or even the Wall Street Journal and USA Today ebook bestsellers list, is simply a form of amplification of voice, right? It's about amplifying voice. And so what we've done, I think most people on this call can appreciate that taking an unconscious competency, the things that we do in our business every day unconsciously because it's competency that we have, is a very difficult thing to do. And so I've spent the majority of my career as a student of influencer and thought leadership businesses and looking at models and systems that work together. And so what we've been able to do is deconstruct how we think and act and how we share our voice into very clear models and systems. As an example, one of the things that we were able to determine is that all successful content has 4 pillars of effective communication: big idea, story, nuts and bolts, and hope. And you have to have all 4 of those in your content in order for it to truly be effective for your customer. And so that's, what we have systems like that. Or in my bio, we mentioned persona architecture. Or people talk about sales funnels. We reject the traditional sales funnel model, and we've replaced that with a psychological system called the 12 Steps of Intimacy. And so what we look at is, how do we uncover your voice and then be able to put you methodically through processes and systems to be able to amplify that voice to a bigger audience? And I think really quick to note here, a platform historically is something that's been around since the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians and beyond. A platform, we can think about the missionary standing on a soapbox to spread his religious message to a group. Well, why does a soapbox work? Why does a stage work? Because the idea is that your voice needs to be elevated above the crowd so that it gets spread. And that's what a platform is. It's about the spreading of your voice over the crowd.
And the greatest thing is, everybody out there, to work with Michael Drew and his team, text right now, author 2020. That's author 2020 to 26786. because he has brought some of the greatest thought leaders and thoughts and businesses out to all of us. Can you just in 2 or 3 minutes before we wrap, tell a little bit about the program and what they're going to expect when they work with you?
So one of the things that we've done for many of our best-selling clients is a process called book outlining. And what we do is we shut down the left hemisphere of the brain for about an hour. And what we're able to do is kind of force what's called flow, right? We want to be able to flow is when the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of the brain are working synergistically together. And there's a number of tricks and tactics to be able to get into flow. Well, what we do, believing that everybody knows internally what their voice is and what their story is, and trusting the intuitive right hemisphere of the brain, is we've created a step-by-step process that allows you to shut down the left hemisphere of the brain, get into flow, and create a very detailed book outline. And that book outline, when you're done with it, it will have a title, it'll have an explanation about the book, it'll have 16 chapters, it'll have 64 very specific topics, so that you know exactly what you need to create with content. And we call this the Writer's Hour. I recorded it with Vishen Lakhiani of Mind Valley, and we're actually giving that away for free. Now, we also have, if you text us at author 2020 to 26786, anybody can get that book outlining process for free. We have also created 2 different levels of additional training that go with that. We have a part of the system that teaches how to uncover your soul purpose, how to define your values. We call it your North Star values. We help you for your business define and come up with how you define and measure success. Then we help you figure out who your customer is through a process called persona architecture. And finally, we have a rapid content creation building off of the book outlining process that helps you take those 64 topics and in just 64 days, be writing just 1 blog post a day, be able to write the totality of your book. We also, beyond that, we have a training on the 12 steps of intimacy, on how to be able to create what we call non-douchey sales funnels that are about building relationship with your customer. And normally we sell that full program, including the free outline, for $229. But for anybody that is interested in the full program, I've promised Bill for your audience that we'll only charge $99. So you just get $130 off for the full program. But anybody who just wants to go through the outlining process, if they get a hold of us, we're happy to give that away for free as well.
You know, thank you so much for doing this. Actually, it's great content, because sometimes I think people forget about books. They forget about actually how to even find their voice and to speak their voice. And you bring that out, and that's critical in a business. It's like we do the First Night of Rainmaker, the why and where you're going, and you take that voice in that piece and put it all together, and it works brilliantly. So right now, everybody, text author to 2020 to 26786. That's AUTHOR 2020 to 26786. Thank you for what you've done. I've read a lot of those books that you've brought forward. They've changed my life. Many of the speakers on here, and our audience is blessed to have you on. Any last comments before I let you go?
Yeah, one thing I'd say to your audience generally, whether it's me or anybody else, what I want your audience here, my mentor in marketing advertising is Roy H. Williams. He's known as the Wizard of Ads. And about 15 years ago, we were walking the streets of New York after Book Expo America. And Roy said to me, Michael, the winners and losers in life are determined when the teams are picked. There are 2 teams that are essential for your success. The first are the team of people who pick you to be on their team. And the second are those who you select to be on your team. Those of you that are participating in this 3-hour session today are going to be exposed to some of the most brilliant influencers and thought leaders in the world. And you have the opportunity to be able to select them to be on your team. And I would highly advocate that you take advantage of the opportunities that are given here to be able to select these influencers and thought leaders to be on your team.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. This has been a blessing today. This is actually just, Michael, you've brought so much content, so much value. You're bringing it at this. Thank you for our audience for the investment they're about to make into you and the investment you'll make into them. I really appreciate you being on today. For myself, Mr. Bill Walsh and Power Team, this has been awesome. Michael, thank you and have a great day.
I will. Thanks. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye, Michael. All right, everybody, right now, you're getting permission. Take your phones out right now. Text the word author, AUTHOR, to 2020 to 26786. Text author 2020 to 26786. Do it now. Don't wait. No reason to wait. No reason to do it tomorrow. I'm thinking about it. All you're doing is making a connection. You're getting a gift anyways, and you're making an investment in yourself because that's what it's about. So one last time, text the word author, AUTHOR, the numbers 2020 to 26786. He really is. He's done an amazing amount of work in all these years, and he's brought a lot of the greatest of the greats to the forefront, to people who never saw them before, who picked it up in a book or on Amazon. Now, everybody move a little bit, get some energy rolling, because your mind is about to go to many different places, and you're going to be blown away. This next gentleman I'm about to bring up is he is the reason Power Team is Power Team. He is brilliant at what he does. He's spoken all over the world. I have seen him for the last 8 years on stages. Number one, not only selling, which means he's enrolled people to take themselves to the next level, but he's taken their businesses to the next level. I did the course Rainmaker. It's over here and changed my life. And we've put thousands of students through who said, thank you so much. This Power Team and Mr. Bill Walsh has changed my life. Without any further ado, he's been on virtual stages now for months and months. He's been on real stages, as we say, live stages, for over 15 years, all international, all in the U.S. Let's give it up for Mr. Bill Walsh.
Brother.
Hey, it's a great day. Have a great time. Really good.
It's good to see you broadcasting and bringing so much goodness to the world and sharing that message. And Michael Drew, of course, did a great job. He lives in the space he's in. He owns it. And if you get a chance to get those gifts or get a chance to get that package for $99, it's kind of a no-brainer if you're serious about growing your business. So today, I'm just going to take about 20 minutes and share with you a couple of key drivers around success. And I need you to do me a big favor and just kind of stand up for a second and just, I don't know, turn around a couple times and stretch a little bit, and then make sure you got something to drink, and then make sure you got something to write with. Because I'm going to give you some notes that'll really help understand what does it take to win in today's economy? What does it take to survive and thrive in today's economy? And I'm going to tell you up front, it's not easy. I have a lot of friends that have lost businesses. I have a lot of friends that have moved. I have a lot of friends that have transitioned to do different things. Because if you're not willing to do these couple of things, adapt, please write these down, adapt, innovate, and overcome. Adapt, innovate, and overcome. But before we get to that, what I really want to talk about tonight is something so critical that every entrepreneur needs to hear this. And if you would just share this message when I'm done with 10 people, you'd be surprised if you'll pick the 10 most important people in your life tonight and write them down. Write down the names of the 10 most important people in your life that you get to spend time with, that you love, that you care about, that, you know, really are important people that have either framed you into the person that you are today, or they're the group you spend the most time with when it comes to your life or your business. Because once you've written these names down, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you to talk to them tonight via text, email, and phone if possible about one word that really is what I would call the game changer in today's economy. And I know it's tough because we're being bombarded with nothing but negative news. Our brain is probably hitting a billion bytes of information per day, and about 85%, I believe, is not positive. It's not going to move you. It's not going to inspire you. It's going to actually move you in the wrong direction. But this one word, that if you can really focus on this one word, especially for the next 90 days, and I need you to really make a commitment for 90 days that every day you'll just take 10 minutes a day and focus on this one word. That's how powerful this is. But to be able to focus on it, You have to make the decision. And I would ask that you make the decision tonight to work on this one word that will take care of most of all of your other situations and challenges. And I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm only going to tell you it's possible. So let me tell you what the one word is. And this one word, if you don't have it written down somewhere, is something you've got to write down tonight. The word is attitude. And I hope you can see it nice and clear there. And, you know, the challenge is that we believe that success is just about, you know, going through the motions. It's not. Success starts with your mental attitude in order the way you see everything in your daily life. What is your attitude towards friendships, towards relationships, towards business? What is your attitude towards waking up every day? What is your attitude towards making those phone calls? What is your attitude towards, believe it or not, your own self-confidence, your own self-competence? How do you see this all coming together? So what I would challenge you with today for the next 90 days is let's all work together on our attitude. Because one thing I do know is that attitude, and you want to write this down, is that attitude will always affect something else, right? And attitude will always affect this one little word that most people don't talk about, but the attitude will always affect your latitude. See, if you don't like where things are at today, you know, you can sit home and bitch about it. You can complain. You can jump on the negative bandwagon. You can get the oh, poor me going. You know, you can begin to think that everything is just bad and it's terrible. Well, and you got guys making $10 billion in one day. You're talking about people that are creating wealth in one day that took people a century to create. You have to realize that their attitude, I promise, is different. So if we can adjust your attitude, we can certainly adjust your latitude, right? But we can, even more important, write this down, control your success. You see, what we're all focused on and what they've got you focused on is called the global economy. How bad things are here, what's going on, what's wrong, all this stuff, right? I need you to move your focus from the global economy tonight to your personal economy tomorrow. I need you to sleep on this tonight, and that's okay. I want you to wake up every day and really understand that I'm going to have an amazing, incredible attitude today towards everything in my life. And that doesn't mean that challenges don't show up. Challenges show up every day. But if your attitude comes from the right place, you'll find better solutions. What I've found in life is that if you'll ask better questions, please write this down. If you'll ask better questions, the universe will give you better answers. If you'll ask better questions, the universe will give you better answers. So now you say, well, Bill, how do I work on my attitude? What does that exactly mean? That sounds really good. Well, here's what I know. Whatever you feed grows. Whatever you think about, you're going to bring about. And whatever you allow into between the two ears on a daily basis, whatever you think about, you're going to become. Very powerful. What you think about is exactly what you're going to become. So if our attitude needs an elevation, if our attitude needs to insert one word that's very powerful when it comes to your attitude, I need you to just put this one word right in the center, and you'll see that this one word, once again, will certainly make a big difference, is that if every day you can start with this, what I call the attitude, and this is important, everybody, the attitude of gratitude. Start today with an attitude of gratitude, and every morning when you wake up starting tomorrow for 90 days, I need you to really focus on what you're thankful for. Before you pray for anything else, before you ask for anything else, wake up each day and thank whoever you believe in. I believe in God, but you thank whoever you believe in for all the amazing things in your life. I thank God every day that my kids are healthy. I thank God every day that I get to wake up in the greatest country in the world that has the greatest opportunity anywhere in the world. But whatever you're going to thank God for or thank who you believe in, you've got to do it consistently. And the attitude of gratitude will shine through you. People say, how do you always look so positive? I say, because I deal with the negative things as they come in, but I have to elevate above that. I have to elevate above that because my attitude of gratitude, my attitude to determine my latitude is so much bigger than the challenge I'm going to face. And you've got to know that you're a miracle and you have a miracle within you. And you have to know that your attitude is going to be adjusted daily based on, this is important, based on what you feed your mind. So as you start each day an attitude of gratitude, then begin to really think about, what am I going to put in my mind tonight? Before you go to bed, write down the most important things to accomplish the next day. When you wake up in the morning, it's that gratitude power, right? That can absolutely adjust your latitude and all the connections that go with it. If you wake up and you're all negative and, oh, today's going to be bad and, oh my gosh, it's this, it's that, there's no way that you're going to have a wildly successful day. But if you'll wake up tomorrow morning with an attitude of gratitude, of all the things you're thankful for, if you'll go to this website called YouTube tomorrow morning, YouTube, and I want you to type this name in, Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, and I need you to listen to 10 minutes a day of Jim Rohn. Just find any Jim Rohn video. Well, who's Jim Rohn, Bill? Well, Jim Rohn's a guy that trained another guy you might know. His name is Tony Robbins. And if you can listen to 10 minutes of Jim Rohn per day for the next 90 days, after you've done your gratitude of what you're thankful for, after you've written down the night before what you're going to focus on the next day to make tomorrow one of your best days ever, you're going to instantly believe and see that your attitude can literally open up every door you could ever imagine in your life. Your attitude can change the latitude that you currently are in. You don't like it in your market. Listen, you change the attitude, have such a position of gratitude, open up the doors, feed your mind with great stuff. You're going to see that we live in a world of unlimited possibility. You're going to see that we live in a world of unlimited opportunities. You're going to see that you live in a world that the minute your eyes are opened, that you're not focused on the negative and the dark, you're focused on the light. Please write this down. You'll see things more clearly. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm going to tell you that most people have been programmed for such a long time on all the negative stuff that that's all they know. And the first thing, of course, is get rid of some of the negative people in your life. If you got people that just want you to carry them all the time and they're always asking for this or asking for that, but they're not bringing anything to the table, move on. If you got people that every time you talk to them, it's just how bad things are, listen, you can run a 100-yard dash, but you can't run a 100-yard dash carrying 3 people on your back. And so often this is what people try to do. They believe it or not, they try to carry people. You're not doing them a favor. You are doing them an injustice. People have to stand on their own. People have to have their own attitude of gratitude. They got to be thankful for those around them. Always pay attention to those that never praise or never applaud when you win, even the small victories. Because you're going to find in the toughest times in your life, it's the real people in your life. It's the real friends they walk in. All the fakes are already gone. They've already left the party. But you've got to make the determination today that your attitude is going to elevate above the noise. Just write those 3 words down, above the noise. Hard to see the forest when you're in it. But boy, a drone can flap a couple 100 feet and it sees what? It sees everything. So you got to begin to realize, how do you elevate, right? You elevate because the positive that you bring to the universe is so strong, the negative does not have a chance. Now, this is important because as you're going to go through life as an entrepreneur, listen, guys, I've been broke and wealthy. Broke sucks. But I've been there. I've had to drive super shitty cars. I've had to check my ego and start over because that's life as an entrepreneur. You know, and it's not like there's levels of being broke, but the worst broke in the world, write this down, is being mentally broke. The minute you start to believe you can't do something, please write this name down. His name is Henry Ford. And Henry was so good, he talked about this. He said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And I carry that card with me all the time. I have a little gold card in my money wallet that I always carry around that has great quotes, that are great affirmations you can read, because I know for a fact that we live in a universe that you can speak things, you can literally speak things into existence. And you've probably seen the movie The Secret, which is great on this topic, but The Secret's only the start of it. You see, then you've got to understand, you've got to adapt, you've got to innovate, and you've got to overcome. I'd love to give you a cut in my book tonight, so if you're listening tonight, just text the word obvious Text the word obvious right now to 26786. Text the word obvious to 26786. Somebody probably put that on the screen for me. But this is critical today because we're in a very difficult time when it comes to staying positive, when it comes to being the light in the darkness. But everything starts with the attitude of gratitude. To adjust your latitude, you've got to adjust your attitude. And to really adjust your attitude, you got to begin to really think about, what do you feed your mind? Which means every day, gratitude. Every day, a little Jim Rohn. Find some TD Jakes. Find some really great inspirational speakers that are out there that maybe you connect with. Maybe it's Pastor Rick Warren. Maybe it's Joel Osteen, right? Whoever it is for you that can speak into your mind, that elevates your thinking to realize, damn it, you're a miracle. You're a gift. You're not here to do small things. You're here to do big things. And if it's tough, it's supposed to be tough. You think it was easy when Jeff Bezos was laughed at for years? For 12 years, he had to borrow money because nobody believed that Amazon would become the company it is today. You're going to sell books. That's not going to work. Haven't you heard of Crocs and Brentanos? Haven't you heard of all these bookstores? What bookstores? He doesn't just sell you books today. He sells you whatever he wants. Because his belief was bigger than the adversity. Your belief has to be bigger. Your why has to be bigger than the adversity you face to overcome and achieve your greatness. When I talk about achieving your greatness, it's your level of greatness, nobody else. Who cares what somebody else does? You focus on your level of greatness. You focus on what brings you the most happiness in your life. Because at the end of the day, I'll promise you this, it's not the house you lived in, it's not the car you drove, it's not the boat you had, right? It's, did you make a difference in someone else's life? Did you make someone else's life? Did you make the world a better place while you were here? Have you actually created something called a ripple effect? The ripple effect is where you serve someone else, and because you've served someone else, they've gone on to help so many other people. The ripple effect only comes when you have the attitude of gratitude, when you can really dig deep, when you can really think deep inside that you have so many gifts to bring to the world, and you'll stop letting other people determine your value. The minute you begin to move away from all that negativity, all of a sudden the right people show up. I believe the right people show up in my life every day. And it's always up to me to make the decision to reach out and follow up. Most of us are too lazy to show up for our own success. And that's not acceptable. Because once again, when you were born, you were a miracle. And you're a miracle today. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed in the last 5 years of your life, right, is the people you've met and the books that you read. Or the whatever you feed your mind. The only thing that'll change in the next 5 years in your life is the people you meet and the books that you read. Or whatever you feed your mind. But the difference maker for those that really do achieve greatness on their own terms, they step so far outside the comfort zone, they don't even recognize what they look like. My challenge for you tonight is step outside your comfort zone. Get connected with some great people. Get plugged into our Rainmaker or our speaker programs or some of the guest speakers we have on here. You've got brilliance in action here. Shelley Hunt coming up, absolute brilliant. You know, Michael Silvers, you want to help us run masterminds? Simple, text SBA to 26786. Get with Michael right away. Get with Cheryl and talk about our Platinum Speaker Program. Text Platinum to 26786. We use all of these systems because I do believe that people like to see stuff on their phone. But nothing's more important than that personal connection. We'll reach out to you and follow up. And I want to thank all of our summit leaders today, you know, for being on and sharing their wisdom. But this I will tell you for a fact is that everything starts with your attitude. And if you want things to get better, you've got to get better. You want things to become even more successful, you got to work on yourself before you work on others. Are you waking up early? Are you putting the time in? You see, as an entrepreneur for the first 5 years of your entrepreneur life, or if you're just restarting, just write this down. Work every night until you're done, until you just can't do anymore. And then get up early. And if you'll follow the path of writing down the big things for tomorrow, and if you'll follow the path with working on your attitude, listen, sleep's overrated. You'll fall in love with where you're going, and the right people will show up to elevate you, to allow you to be at any latitude you choose. And once you've got to that point, it means you're well on your way to making sure your ripple effect on this planet makes the world a better place for others to live. So, Michael, I want to say thanks for having me on tonight. I'm going to actually bring on our next guest. If you can come back for a second, I want to just talk to you for a second, then bring on our next guest. So I want to say thanks for all that you do. You are doing a fabulous job of hosting these each week with Cheryl and getting all this content out there. But everyone that's here, get access to our Success Club. It's free. About 100 hours of content. Go to successclub2020.com. Get access to the club for free. And please, if you're watching, start a watch party. Put your guest on. Put your friends on. Record these things, right? Push them out again. This is how we get better. If you got comments, I want to thank all of our listeners on Twitch. And I want to thank our folks on YouTube for being here tonight, right? Because it really is the difference maker, and the success factor is always you. You are always the wild card in your success. You may want to blame somebody else, but I'm telling you for a fact, if you'll take action on your own big goals and dreams and surround yourself with a great team. We're blessed to have a great team. Austin Walsh will be on here later tonight talking to you about funnels. We're working on brand new funnel programs, super funnels they're called. Super funnels are coming out. There'll be a session tomorrow. It's already sold out. It's oversold for folks to come to the super funnel class tomorrow. We're going to have a workshop in Chicago on super funnels August 22 and 23. We're going to have Rainmaker in Chicago in October. Platinum Speaker Camp in Chicago, now just outside of Chicago, of course, at our new training center in Schaumburg coming up in September. But it really is up to you to take that action. So I want to bring on a very special guest next that she's a rock star. She's what I call a super mom. She's a super entrepreneur. She literally has been through every challenge you can ever imagine, and she's fought them off fearlessly. But more importantly, she's got a big heart, absolutely big heart. She's got some of the greatest kids you'll ever meet, and they came together and they formed a board game called House Guests from Hell. This is the funniest board game ever. That's how I've coined it. The new commercial coming together, the new video for this is absolutely stellar. But I want to bring her on and just talk a little about what it takes to win, right? And really what it takes, that inner game as well. But why it's so important, right, that you follow up and you follow through. And why this board game is something that every home in America needs to have. So let's try to bring Shelly Pritchett on. Shelly, you're there somewhere? Let's see if I can get Shelly on the stream. I know she was there somewhere. Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Looks like you're enjoying your beautiful property tonight.
Yes, our nice house here.
It's beautiful there. So first of all, thanks for being on tonight, and absolutely fabulous job filming the little short infomercial we did the other night for the game. Your kids are absolutely awesome. The entire group, they all did great, so it was really fun to have them all over. But maybe you could just take 1 or 2 minutes and share a bit of your background, and why did you create this game called House Guests from Hell, and why should every family in America have one of these games? So a bit of your background, why you created the game, and why every home in America should have the game in their house, House Guests from Hell. So if somebody could also type up the website in the chat box, www.houseguestsfromhell.com. Everyone should order one tonight. They still have a COVID pricing, so they're half price tonight, $29.95 plus some shipping. I'm telling you, it'll give you thousands of dollars of laughter in your house or with your business owners, all for less than $30 plus a shipping fee. So with that, Shel, I'm going to turn it right over to you quickly. Go ahead.
We want to raise that price back up because this is killing us. It's a giveaway. Anyway, but maybe people will buy it and enjoy it. So the background, I had less than a great background. My childhood and all that, it was a little bit difficult. I got beat, and, there's lots of people who get beat, and my parents didn't like me too much. But, you just take those things and you do positive things with it, and you try not to live with scars. You just overcome it. So having to overcome adversity has always been something that I've had to deal with forever. I ended up I guess I had a learning disability when I went through school, and I did not know it back then. Back in the day, they didn't always test that unless you were really, if it was really pronounced. And mine wasn't so pronounced. It was, kind of an auditory processing problem. So anyway, then I finally get married. I have 3 kids, and all of my kids have really significant learning disabilities. So it was like, oh God, why would you give me this? Well, you just do. You have to overcome these things, and it teaches you to have, inner strength and draw on. If you don't have family that you can lean on, and you read books, you can have someone that you look up to that is, that wrote books 500 years ago. It's whatever kind of speaks to you of how you can get kind of mentorship and trying to overcome those things. But all of the obstacles end up being what we would consider house guests. It's just house guests from hell is obstacles from hell. So you have to have fun, but you're talking about being grateful and having gratitude. Well, that's exactly what we did to overcome a lot of these things that we were challenged with. And so you just rise up above it. You have to, and you can't let all of those difficulties define who you are and put you down and make you feel bad. Each day's a new day, and you choose to look at today. How am I going to make a difference today? How am I going to be grateful? And one thing that we did is always during Christmas, we would have to do 10 new things every single day that we were grateful for. And I did this with my kids when they were really young, and we still do it, especially if we're sad or if somebody's really grumpy. Okay, tell me what you're grateful for. And you can find things, I'm really grateful, to be able to drink water. For a while, we couldn't drink water because we had stomach bacteria it was difficult. And then all of that kind of adversity and difficulty, it actually leads you to joy, to have inner joy. And we all of us have inner joy. Me and my 3 kids, we are happy, and we're not, super wealthy, but we have enough. We're content with what we're doing. We make board games. We're working on several now, and we haven't sold a lot of our games, but we know that we are. It's just one of those things where it just starts picking up. And it's a fantastic game. It's super fun, and it's really funny. It does have kind of potty humor in it. So you have to be prepared for that. And you have to, it's just fun. It is relaxing, and it tickles your funny bone, and it's stimulating, and I don't know, it just is very engaging, and people will come together and just have fun with it, and it's kind of the unexpected humor.
So why do you think that every home in America should have a copy of the game?
Because this game actually has so many different levels to it. There's different layers. And some people that are very competitive and serious, this brings to them something that's kind of maybe not to be quite so competitive, but to actually help the other person solve some of their problems. Because some people are better problem solvers than others, and it actually brings people together. And so everything, every home, every business, you can use this in your business. It has so many different applications, and we're still learning about different things that it can do. It's like, how did you make this? I don't know how we made it. It comes from kind of, it really does come from adversity and forgiving. Don't be hateful to your house guests or to your inner self. Don't be hateful. Just make fun. Let's just, make joy out of it.
And I think that's one of the things we've watched by playing the game. One of the things I'd like you to talk about from the entrepreneur side, right, is that, what did you do, especially during your journey of game idea, game creation, bring it to market. When you face some of the tough times as an entrepreneur, what would you say is one thing you've done that has allowed you to stay focused? You know, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs today, it's so easy. They get something called shiny object syndrome. They want to just go off, I'm going to try this opportunity and try this. And yet they haven't really done their homework on it. But what would you say was one thing during challenging times that helped you to stay focused, and certainly your kids and the family?
Well, we did some research on, you have to do good research on your product or what you're bringing to market. Is it viable? Is there anything like it? And our game ends up not being like anything else. You know, it's kind of been compared to Cards Against Humanity, but then people have says, oh, you get sick of that after, 20 minutes and you're done with it. This game isn't like that, and it's not so negative. It's actually quite, you just start laughing, where I'm not so sure Cards Against Humanity, you're not, I don't want to be talking about that. That's not my product. So, but do the research and make sure that what you're in there's a place for it in the market. And a lot of people, I don't know, especially with this COVID thing now, is your business viable? And I that's kind of, those are harsh words. Those are strong words. But if you're better to make sure you can get to the finish line and not belly up halfway in, don't be spending all of your resources if you're not going to be able to hit the pot of gold at the other side. So we just, through the difficult times, we knew our product was good. We knew that there's a lot of people who do board games. We just didn't have anybody. We didn't have a big circle, a group of friends. We didn't know anybody. And so that's the obstacle that we're dealing with now, is trying to market it and push through some of the difficulties that you have, spreading the news, and, because it's expensive to do, large mass marketing. But that's the things that, I don't know if I'm answering it succinctly.
No, this is great, because people need to hear that, so often it's so easy to get sidetracked, but once they understand that you have a process and you follow through it. And here's the big thing, everybody, is that the greatest way to lose in any business, please write this down, is to quit. And most people quit 3 feet from gold. They quit right at the edge of the diamond mine, because someone tells them that they're not good enough. Someone tells them they can't do it. And I think that's great how you've been really, and I've spent a lot of time with you and your kids, and they've always got a positive attitude. They're always fun to spend time with. They're always like, how do we get better? What else can we do? And when you see this new video, and you see the smiles of people playing the game, it's priceless. I mean, it really, really is. And I guess that would be the big thing. And I guess the last thing, and I'll let you go because it's been great. So everyone tonight, you're listening, go to this website right now, houseguestfromhell.com, order the game. The price is still 50% off. I don't know how long it's going to last, maybe a couple more weeks, maybe a month. That's going to be about it, right? But go get the game, maybe buy 2 or buy 5. If you want to give away great Christmas gifts, buy 5 right now. Do your shopping early. Done. It is by far, like I said, one of the funniest board games ever. We played with 3 groups here at the house the other night. It was absolutely hilarious, and we had so much fun. So you just got to experience to understand just how much fun this is. Any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share, Shelley, with entrepreneurs and business owners that are listening? And then, as a matter of fact, you're pretty fortunate. I'm going to bring on Austin right after you, so I'll bring him on the screen for a moment. But any last words of wisdom you want to share?
Just stay positive. You have to. We just don't be sucked in with all the stuff or all the drama around us. Just be positive, be grateful, try to be, each day is a different day, and, get everything out of it that you can.
Yeah, because you never know when it's your last, correct?
That's exactly right. You don't know.
I mean, it can be very, very fast, and that's the crazy part. But I just think that today people really need more laughter. And one of the things I always like to talk about is that laughter is still one of the world's best medicines, right?
Yeah.
Laughter is still one of the world's best medicines. But I just want to say, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, and it's really exciting to see what's happening, and fun to see all the hard work starting to pay off, and people around the country buying the game and getting to have some laughter in their homes. So let me see if I can bring Austin. I want him to say hello for a quick second. Hang on a second. Let me bring Austin on the stream. Austin, how are you?
Hi, Austin.
I think you're still muted, Austin.
There we go. Hello, can you hear me? What's up?
There we go. Just wanted you to say hello to Shelly for a second before I let her go.
Yeah, I was catching the talk. It was good.
Yeah.
All right, Shelly, I'll let you go. Thanks.
Okay,
Keep up
bye.
the great work. Talk to you soon. So how's it going?
Good, chilling.
Yeah, I thought it'd be great to have you on tonight to talk a little bit about super funnels and how to bring on some new customers, and really just about I want to have you, if you wouldn't mind tonight, is talk about some of the psychology of why some people buy stuff, right? And kind of the process that goes. So often people come to your website but they don't buy something, and there's obviously reasons for that and triggers that I know you and I have always had a good conversation about. That is that. Why can they go to one website where the product's probably far superior, right? And the price is lower, but they don't buy. They'll go to some other website where the product's not as good and the price is much higher, and they buy.
Yep.
So these are some things that I think most entrepreneurs and most people trying to sell stuff online could really use a little bit of help with that. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm not sure how long you're speaking for tonight. And for those that are just listening, this is my son, Austin Walsh. He's quite gifted at online marketing. Been doing it for more than a decade. Got to launch some great and work with some great people like Mark Victor Hansen and Les Brown, and all these amazing names, help them sell more products online. He's been doing funnel development for more than a decade. Got to lecture at Harvard at 21. Got to speak on the Peak Potential stage with T. Harv Eker at 19. And so he really lives what he's going to teach you guys tonight. But what I highly recommend is when he shows you this stuff, make sure that you really go back and look at your websites. Make sure you go back and check some of the things he's talking about. And then if you get a session with him, take advantage of it. If you book a session, take advantage. Don't wait, because that session will absolutely be priceless for you. So with that, Austin, I'll let you go, and I'll jump off the stream.
Thanks. Bye. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are having a great evening with whatever it is that you are doing. I hope the call has been going really good so far. My name is Austin Walsh. Been doing online marketing for over 10 years now. I'm aging myself a bit, but that's okay. And tonight, I guess we're going to talk about really why do people buy certain things, right? And I apologize, my dog is underneath me being a dog. But here, look at this. Pretty funny. You can see the tail going. Regardless, I think it's very important to understand that why someone buys something or versus why someone doesn't buy something, right? It's important to understand why is someone not buying your stuff when they're buying someone else's stuff. And so in saying that, the first thing that you have to start to think about is, what is the end goal of your product? What is the reason that someone is buying your product? And a lot of times we're thinking that it's for a need or it's for a specific reason. And it's not always exactly it. I mean, obviously there's a reason that they're buying, but what differentiates you from someone else? And so it typically comes down to that the reason that someone makes a purchasing decision is based on a few things. One, do they know your brand? Have they been to your website multiple times? It's very rare that someone is going to come to your website and buy just off the first touch, right? They have to repeat. So in saying that, you have to understand, let me just write this down. Repeat visitor. A repeat visitor. Sorry, bad spelling or bad handwriting. Repeat visitors are key to getting people to buy. If someone's not coming to your site 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, the chance of them buying goes very, very low. If they're only there one time, for example, if you have a website that people come to it one time and they instantly leave, that site's no good, right? That site is not going to work very well. And so you want to make sure that you have some sort of follow-up that gets the person back, which means you have to capture data. You have to have some sort of follow-up and some way to capture the data. If you're not capturing the data on the first time they come to your site, the chance of them actually coming back and buying is astronomically low. And so you have to figure out, what can you give away for free? What can you get them to entice them? What can you get them to opt into that gets them to come back and buy, or gets them to come back to the website and view more? So it's important to have multiple streams of follow-up. You know, once they have opted in, are you marketing them to them via just email? Are you marketing them via text? Are you sending them more ads on Facebook and retargeting them? If you're not doing these things, then you're going to be losing sales left and right, and you're going to spend the initial amount of money to get them to the site one time, but not spend the afterwards time, the after work, to get them to actually come back and buy. And especially during times like these, when people are spending more and more time online, that you want to make sure that your campaigns are set up to bring them back consistently. Okay. So in saying that, just a few things, right? One, you have to make sure that you have a follow-up campaign. You have to make sure that you have a way to capture the data to follow up with people. If your website is not set up to capture data and follow up with people, you're already in a losing category. You're already making it so that it makes it very hard for the customer to come back and buy. So one of the reasons that people do not buy is because you're not getting them to come back often, right? That's one. Two, very important thing. Price. It's not about, is your product really expensive or is your product very affordable or is anything of that nature. But when it comes to the marketing aspect of it, you have to make sure that you're marketing to people that can actually afford your stuff. I see it all the time that people are marketing services or products to the completely wrong demographic. So when it comes to price, you have to make sure that you're doing the research. And then you want to when I say do the research, I mean market to zip codes and area codes and places that people can actually afford your stuff and want your stuff. If you're marketing, you know, health and wellness or something of that nature to some city that really doesn't care about that, or some environment that's not for them, it's not going to work. And so you want to make sure that you're spending lots and lots of time doing the research to make sure that this is going to be a win. That means going look at your competitors, going to Google, finding out how much the incomes in certain areas are, going to figure out who your competitors are marketing to. If you see an ad, let's say on Facebook, that is for your exact similar niche, you can right-click that ad and see who they're marketing to. If that ad's been running for a long time, it's probably working. So you want to make sure that you're doing tons and tons of research on the price and on the customer that's going to buy this, to make sure that they come back often and to make sure that they can actually afford your stuff. If you're not doing that, you're already in huge trouble. Then secondly, when it comes to price, you want to make sure that it's correct, meaning that you want to make sure that you're not overpriced or underpriced. If you're underpriced, no one's going to buy. If you're overpriced, no one's going to buy. You want to make sure that it's the correct price for whatever it is that you're selling. And a lot of times, actually, I guess I'm wrong here, if you're overpriced, people will buy more if you're marketing to the right level of customer. But you definitely don't want to be underpriced. Don't undervalue your stuff just because you're trying to get it to buy. Sales work in certain niches, but in other niches, sales are no good. So you want to make sure you're doing tons and tons of research when it comes into the pricing, and make sure that your pricing is correct, and make sure that who you're marketing to is the correct niche to market to. And then another huge thing is that you want to figure out what is the reason and what is the why for someone buying your stuff. Okay, now at the end of the day, people buy things for tons and tons of reasons, but in my experience, human beings do everything based upon some really simple language, and that language is results. The reason that someone buys your stuff is based upon a result. So you want to ask yourself, what is the result? What is the reason that someone's buying your stuff? Not about the challenge. It's not about because it's cool, not because it's fun. What is the end result they get? Are they going to lose weight? Are they going to make more money? Are they going to have more fun? Are they going to have a better life? Whatever it is, whatever that is, you want to make sure that the result is correct. Okay. And so you need to figure out what the results are that whatever your product is. You need to make sure that it's connected and getting to the point that when they buy, they know the exact end result they're going to receive. And then you want to map out these results for a period of time. If you're selling something that's, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, you want to make sure that they have a roadmap of here's when you can expect these results. Here's when you can expect the change. Here's when you can really start to understand and see that this is why you bought this product. Okay? Everyone got that? Results, important. Next, you want to make sure that you have referrals. A lot of times people buy something because it was referred. And if you're have a product but don't have a huge marketing budget, you can set up referral partners just because of the fact that someone needs to just ban this Duppy Moore guy. He's real special. That's okay though. You want to make sure that you have a referral campaign, something of some sort set up. Something along the lines of that if someone sends you a sale, they are incentivized to send you more sales, whether it's something to do with a payment, whether it's something to do with more product, whether it's something to do with a Starbucks gift card, whatever it is. You want to make sure you have a referral campaign set up. And then mostly, lastly important, you want to make sure that this referral campaign is actually written out so that you can send it to other people and explain to them, here's what our referral campaign looks like. Would you like to sign up? And you want to make sure that people sign up for these referrals and are actually tracked. So really important, referrals need to be tracked. Referrals need to be tracked. Okay? And so when referrals, if referrals aren't tracked, then you don't know who your top referrers are. You don't know who your top campaigners are. You don't know who the person is that's sending you tons of business. And the more referral partners that you have, the less money you're going to be paying for traffic. Now, you may be paying it for in a different way, but you're only paying on the action, not on the lead. And so it's a great way to make sure that if someone is sending you lots of traffic and leads, they're getting paid for it. They're getting some incentivized for it. And people miss this all the time by not doing something as simple as just setting it up. Okay. And so you start to put these things together into a motion that, you know, you have a proper website that converts. You have a product that is focused on a result. You have referrals set up. You have all of these things so that it's in the correct manner, in the correct forum, to make sure that people are set up for success and that your entire process is set up for success. And then it goes into optimizing this stuff. Like, the thing about all this internet stuff is that you have to do what's called test tracking and tweaking, meaning that you're constantly figuring out ways to make this stuff better. Okay. You're constantly figuring out ways to, what can I change? What can I tweak? What can I make a little bit better to increase my percentage by 2%, 5%, 7%? And the easiest way to do this is by putting in different kinds of tools and systems to make sure that you can actually track. So for instance, like, you should be using Google Analytics. If you're not using Google Analytics, it's free. Just log in and use it. You should be using stuff like mouseflow.com. You should be using different kinds of, like, mouseflow.com allows you to track your website and where the people's mouses go. And we have so much of this information for you already in Success Club and based in our past streams that you can go and watch this stuff and learn really what are all the tools and systems that I need to get better at it. And then it goes into, lastly, I guess one of the most important things is really the understanding of how do you scale this? How do you get more traffic? How do I get more referrals? How do I get more results? How do I get more people into my process to sell even more stuff? And so it's about scaling it, whether that's Facebook ads, whether that's buying traffic, whether that's setting up 10 referrals a week, whether that's making more phone calls, whatever it is that you have to do to get more people into the pipeline to increase your chance of more e-commerce success or more online sales success. And it's so important to get really good at this because this is the way of life now. This is how it's going to be for a while. You're not going to be able to go into networking events with hundreds of people. You're not going to be able to do this, but you have infinite access to tons and tons of people just by a few clicks of your mouse. And so it's so important to understand that, right? And then, you know, really it all comes down to, at the end of the day, having all of these set up and then making sure that you have a converting website. You have to have conversion. You have to have a converting site. And so if you don't have a converting website, like all the stuff that we're talking about is completely irrelevant, right? Like it's so, and I've stressed this for a long time that, and before this, and I'll show this after this is over, whatever, but you have to have a website that actually sells. You have to have a website that actually converts the lead. You actually have to have a website that moves people down a pipeline to get them to take action. And so you have to think to yourself, like, if you're on this call right now, or if you've been on these calls, or if you've come a few times a week, or you've gone to YouTube, or you've gone to Udemy, or you've gone to places to learn stuff, like, learning is great, but you have to actually take action and get the stuff rolling. And that's why one of the reasons that we're here is to help you with those things, right? Like Success Club 2020 is a great place to go and get all the information. Mobex Pro, which is something that we just launched in the last, 2 months, maybe 2.5 months now. That's a place you can get your entire mobile funnel built out in less than a week and have it so that you have converting leads coming through immediately, and have managed Facebook ads, and have campaigns set up correctly for you, right? And it's about like putting all of these things into the puzzle and making sure that it actually works. Like the thing with this stuff is that if you have one thing set up correctly, it's not going to work. You have to have multiple things set up correctly in the right format, in the right platform, or else this just becomes a huge almost waste of time for you, right? And so we've created tons and tons of resources and tons of systems and tons of hand-holding and things of that nature to help you with that. And if you want to get access to that, like, you can go to mobexpro.com, mobexpro.com, and learn more about that. You can schedule a call with me. You just got to text internet to 26786. I'm like the most easy person to get a hold of. You can shoot me a message on Facebook. You can, I've given out my phone number before. I'm not doing that tonight. We have a call tomorrow at noon to go really in depth on the funnel stuff. If you have more questions on that, if you have questions here right now, you can ask them. But it's important to understand that learning is great, but if you want to start scaling and making money, you actually have to start doing some of this stuff. And you're going to have to invest, whether that's time, money, whatever it is, to making some of this stuff work. And it's a process. It's not something that's done overnight. It's going to take time, but I think you have plenty of that going for you in this very moment, that you have the time to do this. You have the time to put in the effort and the work to make sure that this stuff works. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever right now, you can just fire off a question. I should be able to see it in the chat. We'll take some questions here. And if you're on this call right now and you're not asking questions, there's something wrong, because you should be asking tons and tons of questions, unless you have everything figured out and you're literally just have me playing in the background while you're doing some cooking or something of that nature. But it's important to understand that you have to be using the internet to start scaling. So we'll give it a second for some questions. If anyone has questions whatsoever, we'll take those questions. And if we don't have questions, that's fine as well. You guys got it all figured out.
They do. The question I always get is, because people are always trying to think of their business between a brick and mortar and what their business looks like. Even in a traditional business, obviously they want to be online and virtual, but that scaling of the funnel and to be able to reach a greater population, how does that work for a traditional business? Yeah, I mean, it's still the same way. Like, you're still just taking someone down a lead flow, a lead pipeline. Before, someone would walk into your store and ask you questions. Now they can go online, fill out a questionnaire, and you respond back to them with the questions. It's not much different. Here, I got a question here too. It's not much different than how it was traditionally, right? Like, it's the understanding that times have changed, and it was always coming. It just came faster with COVID. Like, they've been trying to push telemedicine for years and years and years, but now it's like a mandatory thing, and it's not going to change. Like, you are not going to go to the doctor after this is over like you used to. It'll all be done over the phone, because it's more convenient for them and it's more convenient for you. No waiting, just here's the call, let's go. And that's going to continue to be like that. That's going to continue to scale and be something of that nature, right? Like, and so it's about adapting and making things better. And then I got another question. How do you get over the fear of asking for money? Like, getting over the fear of asking for money is something that happens when you understand that what you're selling is going to have an impact and a result on someone's life. Like, obviously there might be some
hesitation when you're first starting, but once you start to see results in people's lives and change in people's lives, then this becomes something that is very easy to ask for money. Like I have not had issues asking for money in very long time. You just have to understand that there's what they're paying for as a result. They're not paying for anything else other than that. Do you work with people who are very basic in the internet knowledge? I have a site, but I'm not utilizing all the parts. Yeah, we work with pretty much everybody. Like we don't expect you to be an insane internet marketer or someone that's just amazing at whatever they do. Like I have a very basic knowledge of cooking, but I still always ask people that are much better chefs than me for help or go learn how to do something better. Or if I get stuck on something, I'm going right to YouTube. So there's nothing wrong with asking for help, and we're down to help anybody, right? Like if you need some help when it comes to your online stuff, all you gotta do is text internet 26786 and can hop on a call and kind of go through this stuff. So yeah, but we're down to help anybody and everybody. It's not about how good you are. As long as you have a great service or a great business idea or a great thing that a result that you're selling, we can totally help you with that. You just got to be great at something.
Yeah, somebody just asked too. I saw one pop through. I'm watching some of the feeds. They actually were interested in class tomorrow and what you're going to be teaching and a way to connect.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going through funnels, so we're going really deep into funnels at noon tomorrow. It's going to be on Zoom, so it'll be a lot more interactive, and people will be able to ask questions whenever they want and stop me. And it'll more be like a conversation per se than just a lecture. And there'll be some lecture part of it, but it'll be about an hour long compared to the 20 minutes that I'm here tonight. So it's a little bit different. And that'll all be on Zoom, and I'm sure we can get a link for whoever asked. It's around somewhere. Let me see if I can find that link. Sorry, guys, trying to find this.
No, it's okay. As you're multitasking, there's also the question always comes up from a social media perspective. Will you be talking about that? I saw that through one of the streams.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it a bit if it comes up. I mean, I only talk about it if people ask me about it. So yeah, we can totally talk about social media tomorrow.
Okay. The other question too that comes up just from a social media perspective is if your audience right now was about 24 to 34, what social media would you use?
Probably still Facebook. I mean, unless it's like all women or something.
And if it was?
If it was all women, I would use like Pinterest, or if it was all like fitness or health and wellness, I'd probably use Instagram. It really depends what you're trying to do, what your end goal is.
Great.
I posted that link. I don't know if people got it or not. I put it in the private chat because I can't do it in the, I think.
I'll take care of it. I'll move it out of there.
Yeah, I think this works. One sec, I know. Did you get it?
I did.
Cool. Yeah, I see it in there too. Perfect.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the post. So for anybody who wants to be on the call tomorrow, there's the link to get in. We can also get you registered too.
Barry, I'd probably use Pinterest for successful women over 50. Pinterest or Facebook, 100%. I mean, but I would test multiple different platforms out and see which one has the best result. I think at the end of the day, like there's no such thing as a right answer. It's figuring out which answer actually works.
I'm just checking the boards for anything else.
Yeah, you're good.
Looks good tonight, Austin.
All right, brother. Thank you guys all. I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. Make sure you catch it. The link's in the chat. We'll be on Zoom, so I get to see all your pretty faces. You get to see mine, and we can kind of rock and roll and have some fun.
All right, fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause, Austin. Thank you so much for being on.
Yep. Bye, guys.
All right, bye, Austin. You know, Austin is somebody that you absolutely want to work with, and he's there for you. He's there to answer those questions. He's there to drive it through. The thing is that he grew up around this, right? He's been doing it his whole life, and he's worked with, because of Power Team. He's one of the co-founders of Power Team, and because of all the businesses they've seen in the last 10 years, which is if you take a look at when they were doing the, oh my God, I just blanked on but the small business expos, they were looking at a couple thousand businesses a month that were going through the system. Just go ahead and text internet to 26786. Text internet to 26786. That will absolutely bring you right to Austin. He's there to work with you. He'll do a power session with you. He'll go through your business, the internet, social media, how it all looks, how it needs to be put together, and really that funnel piece, where that next step is. The other thing too is we do have the call tomorrow, so we posted a link to that. If for any reason you can't find it, have trouble getting on or anything around those lines, you can always just text SBA to 26786. Text SBA to 26786. I'll be happy to help you. Or you can text internet to 26786 and Austin will be there right for you. So it's been a great day so far. We are not done. We have another amazing VIP panel coming up. We're bringing you the information and knowledge to take your business from A to B to C to D all the way as far as you want to go. It's about you right now. And I know a lot of you are asking the famous question, what's in it for me? We are here for you. We are training and education. We are about taking businesses to that next level. And part of that's been the Rainmaker Summit. But remember, as you're moving through this, how does this look to you? And how are you might fit with Power Team? Have you taken Rainmaker? Is there another education piece that you need? Have you gone to successclub2020.com and registered complimentary and got all the learning and education? Have you connected with myself and the team? Have we been able to meet you, see what you do, see how you can take yourself to that next level, see what we can bring out of you to create of your greatness, and also show you what we do best. And we know we don't do everything. We don't try to. It's not what we're here for. And if nothing else, then we'll connect you or recommend of where you should go, who you should speak with. It's like the speakers we had on earlier. We had Emily Letran, she's an amazing, powerful coach, and she spoke around the world, and she's created, this new business she was a dentist who loves being a dentist, and now has created this international business with her new book just came out today. We had Mr. Rob Hanley, who will drive you to that next level, but really take a look at your marketing, your social media, and how he has interviewed some of the best on the planet. And at the same time, we had Christy Duvall on, and Christy with her real estate background, but it's the thought process and mindset, and the success came from somewhere, and being able to help you to that next piece. And for our panel that's about to come up, how do you reach these people? Well, we make it easy for you, because we'll do the work on this one. You do have to type, though. And it's right there underneath me. It's ipowerteam.com/freedom. ipowerteam.com/freedom. We truly want you to be part of everything that we're creating here. And we want you to be able to reach the coaches and the mentors that you want to personally and spend time with them. They've all volunteered to spend time with you. You just got to get on the computer, type in ipowerteam.com/freedom, and fill out the form. So you're going to see a drop-down form. And very simply on the drop-down form, you're going to see everybody's name. And pick the coach. You know what? Why not pick as many as you think would be helpful for your business at the moment and let them go through it with you? And pick the name of the coach you want, or several. Fill out the information, and the coach, the mentor, will get that and will reach right back out to you. Set up the appointment and don't miss the appointment. Their time is just as critical as yours is, but trust me, they're always got other things going on. They've got a great book, probably Think and Grow Rich, right in front of them. And so their time will always be used well. Use your time well and make sure that you're on those appointments. So without any further ado, I'm about to bring our next panel up. I always say that if you're doing this, because you're warning them that they're coming up. I'm trying to see, and they all start smiling and waving, and then I know that greatness is about to be brought up. And I will do my best not to take any of the names apart one way or the other. And we'll go from there. These next three, actually, so they were on a prep call with me earlier today, and it was a lot of fun, I got to say. They're ready to go. They're going to bring their greatness, their brilliance, and help bring it out in you. So without any further ado, with a huge thunderous round of applause, because this group is here for you. They're here on their dime and their time. And they're here to bring you the information, the knowledge. I'm going to ask them questions, and you can ask questions too. So you can type questions, and if any questions come in, I will ask the panelists those questions also. And here we go. Let's give it up for Barry Spilchuk, Christopher Salem, and I got to drop the screen down, and Shelly Hunt. Hello, all of you. How are you?
Hello.
Wow. It's so happy to be had.
I know. Great. So yeah, and you always know in the group, right? Right. So it's great to have you all on. It's great to have the energy. And it was really fun earlier, actually, on that little prep call we did. So I enjoyed it. I have to say, it sort of set the tone for my day. And it was a lot of fun. And that's what we're going to have now, because also people have been with us on the stream now for a couple hours. And so, we really went person to person to person, and we rocketed forward. I didn't really give them a stretch break, which is okay. So stretch right now in your seats. We're done with that. But with all of you on, part of what's going on now is a lot of the people on this line and who are going to listen. Remember, this gets listened to between now and the next months to come. A lot of them are going to say, I don't know who that is. So this is your chance to really earn the right of not only why they want to work with you, because we know they do, but a little bit about yourself, and you can take a little bit of time. So I'm going to start. Now, we started, right? I've always started, because gentlemen always let the women go first, which I always do. Today, I reversed that for the first time, but nope, not going to happen right now. So Shelly, you're on.
Yes. Okay. I'm Shelly Hunt. I'm the founder of Successes by Design. I do business strategy and business expansion. I help diversify Virgin, the brand. I do commercials, national, international, PR and marketing. And I also have the Women of Global Change, which is an international organization with about 500,000 members right now. So our reach is far and wide, but we do educational and social impact around the world.
Okay, so that's just a little. Yeah, that's okay. All right, here you go. That's very well done. I love it. All right, Christopher.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. So my name is Chris Salem, and I'm an executive coach and professional speaker, and I work with business owners and businesses to help them scale their businesses by raising their level of influence as trusted advisors. So I teach you how to build your business from influence so that you can build it from referrals. So you have ongoing referrals coming in. It starts with a growth mindset. I also get involved in every aspect of the life cycle of the business, from inception, if you're a startup, right to the point of exit strategy. So I help create value statements for businesses to generate referrals, business valuation, business strategy, and then also, of course, exit strategy. A lot of people fail to do exit strategies. They think that's something you do right when you know you're going to leave the business, something you should be doing way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. And Barry.
Hello. Well, I'm here as the president of the Shelly Hunt fan club. So yay, go Shelly.
Yes, Game Shelly. Yes.
But I am a two-time cancer survivor, and I thank Heavenly Father for that. They told me to get my affairs in order, and I said, I haven't had any affairs. And they went, oh, well, you can go home then, But after being in the hospital five straight weeks as an inpatient, 7 months later, I was cancer-free. So I've been very blessed. I'm the first Canadian to do one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Mine, A Cup of Soup for the Soul, did 580,000 copies around the world. But now that I'm 62 and a half, I've made it my mission to honor God and the message he's given me to help people who've gotten to that stage in their life when they've said, all I've ever wanted isn't enough. So it's usually senior executives and people who money is not the issue, but they're saying, how come I'm rich, but my kids don't talk to me? How come I've got no relationship with myself? And everything I'm afraid to do, gosh, I was bold in this, but I was afraid in that. So I just love spending time helping people get down to the nitty gritty of who they are and where they're stuck and help them release it.
Yeah, thank you for being on today. And for all of you, could actually you put the book up again, since we all like Mark. Anyways, yeah, put the book closer. There we go. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for doing that, because that series has changed a lot of lives of a lot of people. There's just a couple of books have been sold, but it's really made a difference. Right, I know too. That's like, I bought one and your cousin bought one, but it has changed the lives. And that's what you're all doing because of the networks you've created, the stages you've been on, and now virtually, the way a lot of us already have these virtual networks, but really flipping into that. So part of it, we always get the question, and so I'm going to change the questions a little bit, and I know you guys will go with the flow, is when you took your business virtually, because this is going on right now, people are trying to figure this out. Should I go virtual? In 6 months, we'll have a vaccine. If I go virtual and spend all that money to go virtual, which it's not a lot right now, but if I still do that investment, is this the way I should move whatever type of business I have to have that presence online? And so how did you do it for your business, and how would you address that with a client? This is a very big generalization, but James Shelley, go ahead.
I think one of the most important things is to realize that this can be utilized. Even if COVID ended tomorrow and the pandemic, the world, I call it the world on fire. If the world fire went out, it is an addition to all that you already have. And, so many people go, well, maybe I need to do something different. And you don't have to do something different if you're in your niche and you're in your gifts and talents. It's the distribution that is different. And to me, the distribution is really exciting because more people were captured in their houses, in their homes, and in front of their computers than ever before. And I was like, this is a marketer's dream. Are you kidding me? This is great. So it's an investment. However, it's a long-term play, and it's a way of distribution for your products and services.
That was actually really about the marketer's dream. That I have not heard that. That is exactly right. Right, captive audience, and they're watching, and they're watching all the YouTubes and the streams and the Netflixes, and then okay, I've seen every single show. So now what's online? What's happening? Right? Who's pitching? Oh, I got an email that says watch it. Sure, why not?
Like Tiger King. Okay, Tiger King is a great example. I was like, this movie is the weirdest thing in the world. It's the weirdest crap in the world, but it became famous because we were all locked in our house and we spread the word. You got to see this. It's really weird.
And it really did. That's that word of mouth, right? And we even did it word of mouth through our homes because everybody's on Zooms with all their families. Everybody's on Zoom, and look at what it's done for Zoom. I just saw the other day Nintendo. Their profits are up 576%, and that's not a little figure. So it's created all these different landscapes, and people are realizing they're also to the point. I think I'll finish the last thought, but they're also to the point. They don't want to do it. We've done this in the 2000s. We did this in 2008. Okay, 2020, something else has come our way. I need to look at this differently now. And I think that's a big piece. Barry, go ahead.
Oh, I just, like right now, I always had to revert back to when I was lying in the cancer bed and say, okay, what's the bless in this mess? Okay, what is the bless in this stress? And say, okay, what do I have to do? And in this case, I'm currently working on a project that because of my ability to bounce back through a bankruptcy when the cancer was going on, and then a second cancer, people started calling me Bounce Back Barry. And then I had to realize, where did that come from? And it was when I was hired to be hired. It was a volunteer president of the North Bay Chamber of Commerce way back in 1990, when the headlines said, businesses closing, sales reducing, staff, and the same headlines we're seeing right now. And all of a sudden, I started getting these Gmail messages. That's God mail if you're a God person. It's gut mail if you're not a God person. And it said, you got to go back and help the nonprofits. So for the last 2 months, I've been saying, okay, there's somebody has to wave the flag for the nonprofits. And so I started putting together some products for them and just asking them the questions of where does it hurt? And the biggest things right now is when I approached one guy in 1990 with the same question, what do you want to avoid at all costs? He had tears in his eyes. He was a 25-year executive director, and he said, I don't want to lay not one person off. These people need the world to me. So when we start thinking from their perspective and not ours, like, how do I save my job? We start thinking, how do I save theirs? How do I save their nonprofit? How do I save their clients? And I asked one president of a chamber, I said, what do you want to avoid at all costs? And he said, I don't want to go and witness and help my business member have to close his doors and move back home. So then there's all kinds of social media places you can go, and we all know those. So, but it's just focus on the bless and the mess and find out how they're hurting, who's hurting, and what can we do to take away that hurt.
That's it. And that, that of surface piece, which you talked about, it's part of what can get you up every morning.
Oh,
because you got to that point where it was not about you, and really you're servicing others, and that wakes you up every day. That gets you going. I mean, I know Bill is on the board of Safe Haven, and if you can take one less person that's off the streets and into a home, what a change that will make. We always do this. Well, we got to change millions of lives. What if you make a difference in one who then goes to one, and that one goes out to the million? And that's what you don't know. Christopher. Yeah, Christopher or Chris, which do you like better?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a transition for everyone. I mean, for me as a corporate trainer, a coach, and a professional speaker, I'm used to being in front of people all the time. So going online wasn't so much a big transition when it came to coaching, because I've always been coaching online for quite some time. But it definitely moving the training aspect, like workshops from in-person to online, there was a little bit of a transition, but not as bad as I thought. And what's great about this opportunity for people is that, behaviors have changed as a result of this. I mean, there are going to be people now that even when they've been given the consent to go back into work, if they work for somebody or they want to go back into their businesses, some may choose not to. I know some businesses that decided to close doors, because they want to work online now because, what has happened. So there's a lot of things that have changed. And as a business person, we have to really understand that. We have to understand our audience, specifically, where are they now and where are they going to be going forward? So no matter if you're not used to being online, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and start learning more about it, because you have the ability to reach so many people rather than before when they were in person. I reach more people now online than I did when people were in person, just because there's not an excuse like, oh, I couldn't get out there, I couldn't catch a flight, or I had to be in Chicago and yet you're in Dallas. So people can now be there. And I'll tell you right now, even if we go back to the way things are, I am going to be adopting more of an online, and then of course we'll do in person, but I'm teaching businesses now that have traditionally done things in person that you can find ways to do this online. Because the fact is, as the Gen Z and the millennials now are going to make up majority of the workforce and businesses, they've already adapted to this technology. And this technology is going to continue to evolve to make it easier for us to connect in this way that we're doing now. So I think, even though this has been a tough transition for business in general, especially small business, I consider it a blessing, because sometimes we got to take certain steps backwards to go forward. So I look at it as a positive transition that 2021 will be able to start seeing the fruits of that transition.
I agree. And I think it's changing that mindset, and the landscape is moving. And by the way, have you ever thought about being a sportscaster? I know there's only like 2 jobs a year, but you got a great voice. I always think sometimes I'm about to see a Red Sox game.
Radio show, yeah.
Yeah, see, it's a great, but there is, the landscape has changed. I mean, if you look at what Zoom has done, with their $50 billion cap now, and, just today, not that I'm doing this while Bill's talking, but I got an email with one of their latest updates is with Zoom, you can have your PowerPoint virtual behind you as you teach. So you can be like a weathercaster now. They just launched that. And so they're continuing these changes of a way you can reach your audience, and you can truly immerse yourself into the education and learning that you're creating. You're actually truly part of the screen. With that, being at home, obviously being an entrepreneur, right? There's the whole thing about scheduling and getting it done and all of that. What great book or podcast, YouTube, Bill always talks about Jim Rohn. What gets you up in the morning? What keeps you going? And what potentially even started you down this path? Dame Shelley, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. No. You gotta love the cat phone headphones.
Love it.
I got you in here. My kids just they cringe when I wear these. Okay. But what started me down the path was Bob Proctor, and I was originally trained by Alexander Everett. And so, for those that don't know me, I grew up under a house in Boston, Massachusetts, to a single mom, 1 pair of shoes at a time, and went on to be mentored by some of what I consider the best in human potential. And what gets me up in the morning? Humanity, purpose, and serving. And I wake up every morning and I say, please, Lord, let me hear and respond with less lag time. Let me follow my purpose. And so many times people separate their purpose from their business, but you can have a successful nonprofit. You can have a successful, purposeful business that makes money. But that's kind of how I started, and it's kind of what gets me up. And having great mentors, and picking people that are good at what I need to learn next. Not,
That's
you know, one person has all the answers. And I go to, at one point, I understudied Warren Buffett, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't go to him. I went to him for business. I didn't go to him for other things. So, you know, so many times we'll get a mentor and we expect them to be like these great people in all areas. And then we go, oh, you're great in business. You have a screwed up relationship. Oh, no, you know, well, I'm going to poo poo on them. Well, they're not perfect. None of us are perfect. You want to learn from those that have mastered certain things. And so I really spent a lot of my life going, I want to learn this from this person because they're a master at it. You know, so if it's internet, learn from someone that's a master at it. You know, by the time I tried to master it, I tried to design a website. Chris will probably laugh at me. I tried to design a website and it took me like all day. And my daughter came over my shoulder to tell me how horrible it was. And it really was. And you know, that was a lesson many years ago. And I was like, I'm just going to have other people, you know, do what I'm not good at and live just in the zone I'm in. So anyways, I don't know if that's my roundabout answer, but there it is.
Oh, it's perfect. It was perfect. Barry.
Well, what was cool was I had the honor of buying a Bob Proctor franchise in 1990. And he introduced me to Jack Canfield, and I became Jack's apprentice. I actually lived in Jack's home as I was writing my Chicken Soup for the Soul book. So February in Santa Barbara versus February in Northern Canada. Hey, hon, this book's going to take a little longer than I thought. Right?
10 years, right?
And then I was blessed to meet Bernie Dorman at IBI CEO Space and became one of the lead instructors there. Bernie, I was honored. He handed me the microphone over 200 times to take the stage and do. All the other teachers got to teach once or twice. I got to teach once a day. So I was blessed for 15 years to be there. It was amazing. But when I started studying the ultimate, you asked for the best book. And I'm not trying to score any brownie points here, but all of these people's books, everything came from the Bible. And I read the Bible every day, and I read Proverbs every day, and then I read something else every day as well. And I thought that all of these wonderful books, all the ideas came from there. So that was great. And then when I did after the Chicken Soup for the Soul phenomenon, I said, you know what? The publisher's making a lot of money, and I made 25 cents a book on this. I said, how do I do more? So I created a new series called You're My Hero, and we did 4 of these. And it was sort of like Chicken Soup for the Soul for my hometown. And again, the reason I'm going into this is because I want the whoever's watching tonight and whoever's listening down the road, I want them to really focus on something that Mr. Walsh said earlier. And I got to tell you, I was so happy when Austin said what he said about, you got to find, most people say find your why, but Austin took it a step further and said, find their why. Okay. And then when you have to say find their why, well, you got to find out exactly who they are. So when I was standing there, my goal was to take the money from this and take $20, sell it for $20, give $8 to the local women's shelter. And so I sat there and we only sold the book in a hardware store, one hardware store. And we gave $27,000 in charity profit to this. And they were just flabbergasted. But as I sat there for 20 days signing books and with a big smile, I had one person's picture in my mind because everybody talks about Avatar. And as soon as I hear that, I think of a blue person and it scares me. I just think,
that's funny.
Who's that ideal client? Okay. And I thought I'll change her name, Annie. Annie's a 35-year-old woman who drives to work every day with tears in her eyes. She works hard all day. She studies on her lunch hour and she cries on her way home. She makes some soup and she wolfs it down, hops in the car, cries a little more, and goes to night school every night to take courses to improve her life so she can get a better job and a raise to earn money to pay for her lawyer so she can get her kids back from the husband who kidnapped the kids twice. So as I sat there writing every story for this or collating or signing every autograph, and when we handed that check over to the women's shelter, okay, they were expecting about 8,000. We gave them 17 and 10,000 to other charities as well. It was with Annie in mind. Every story was audited with Annie in mind. Every book was signed with Annie in mind. So to all of us who are business people on this call, which is all of us, get a real deep dive, intricate look, not just, it's a woman over 30. you're not going to go that far. You know, you need to go deep and dive, and you've got to give a voice to her tears, and then you're going to be successful in your business.
Well stated. And you know, you brought up Bernie Dorman, because we got the news, Bill and I, that we were doing one of these summits. So I did a moment of silence, and you know, he has affected a lot of us. And you know, for years I ran a mastermind that I invited him to once a year to, you know, speak for us. I was with Peak Potentials for a long time, and it's that union of greatness when you know somebody's really there to deliver for your students and nothing else matters. Yep. is what it's all about. And to give to the charity and to give to those people that you've, you know, Barry, that you've obviously affected their lives, that's what gets you up here. Mm-hmm. That's what makes a difference. And thank you for doing that, sharing that story. Chris.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, what gets me up in the morning is just the ability to, again, to be who you are. Why are you here? What is your purpose? And the ability to be the example for others. I consider being the example, meaning that if you can give to yourself and control what you know and what you can do and let go of the rest, leverage your strengths and show up to be your best, not to be the best, but to be your best. You can be the example for others, empowering them to do the same for themselves over time. I call that interdependent communication and behavior. And that is the greatest gift you can give someone. It's not just doing for them. It's actually being the example for them to do for themselves. And I've been inspired by, God, so many mentors. I'm a big fan with mentors. I'm a mentor to a lot of people. And, you know, Jack Canfield's one of my mentors. So Barry was talking about Jack. Richard Branson, I've gotten a chance to, you know, meet Richard on several occasions. And what I love about certain people like that is their transparency, that they're not afraid to admit their mistakes. Nobody is perfect. No one is just, you know, shows up and they're successful overnight. They've had more failures and setbacks than they've had successes, because you've heard about the successes, not the failures. But see, the failures and the mistakes and all the challenges are all necessary and blessings to mold you where you are. So when you are successful, you could truly be grateful for that. So I admire mentors that really are transparent, come from the heart, walk the talk. And, you know, those are the people that have really inspired me to do the same for myself. And I'm a big fan of teaching people and businesses to really not only get to the core of why you do what you do, but what are those core values? Not somebody else's core values, but your own. When you have the ability to identify what your core values are and how that relates to your audience, does it mean it's going to be a perfect alignment? No. But if there's a similar connection on similar values, these are the people that are going to feel that you relate to them. And when people feel related to, that you understand them and you're listening, they're more likely to make a decision that they want to work with you over time. May not be right away, and they're more likely to refer to you. And this is what I call a trusted advisor. And I think that you're starting to see a transition now where there are certain individuals and companies now getting away from just trying to sell something, but to actually empower people to make a decision through the art of enrollment into getting them to do it together. Let's do this together. Let's solve your problem together. I can't solve it for you. Did I lose it?
No, you're good.
I'm sorry. I thought something popped up and I thought I lost you guys. And
no,
with that,
I can hear you.
I'm a firm believer that when you can connect on those core values and really empower people to be part of that decision to do something for themselves with why you do what you do, they're more likely to have a better experience, a better outcome as a result of the process they've committed to, and they're going to refer.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Oh, thank God. I thought all of a sudden went blank on me. I'm like, God, did I lose you guys?
You're good. You know, and the greatest thing about that is it is empowering others. The next piece that this is something I always want our audience to take something away today. So I'm going to ask the question, then I'm going to tell them how to connect with all of you. Then we're going to answer the question. It gives you a minute to think about it. But if today I watched this panel, what 3 things can I do immediately in my business or my life starting tonight and tomorrow where I can start making a difference? Even if it's something where I'm serving others, what are 3 things that you would tell me right now as my incredible, powerful mentor that I should do right now, knowing nothing else about me? So think about that for a minute, and let me actually post this one thing. For those of you who want to connect with these amazing speakers and speakers we've had today, just go to ipowerteam.com/freedom. You'll see their names in a drop-down menu. Fill out the form and let them work with you and help take you to that level that you would like to achieve. Maybe you're just stuck in a place you are right now. Maybe you just need a moment of just to talk to somebody and say, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, the world has greatly changed, I'm stuck. Maybe it's even an issue around, I'm actually working harder than I ever have, but nothing's changed. What can I do? Reach out to them at ipowerteam.com/freedom and find their name on there. Okay. All of you wonderful panelists. Barry, we'll start with you.
Okay, step number 1, it's every business teacher teaches this. Make it easy for the client to say yes with your offers. Just give them so much value that they'd be crazy to say no. So everybody teaches that. This one, not a lot of people teach this. Make it easy for you to say yes. Because for so long, I blocked myself, because what ended up happening is every time I went to grab for the brass ring, I would pull my hand back. And I went, why? And this leads into a word that we don't hear a lot in business, but I'm going to share it here tonight. And I encourage you to shed the shame. And what does shame mean to me? It's secretly hiding a monstrous experience. And I remember when I went to launch Chicken Soup for the Soul, my book, and I went to launch it, and Jack said, Bear, I love you, but this is a weak manuscript. And I went, and I had to really process as to where that, and then finally we got it on track and let it go. And then I remember speaking once and saying, shame is secretly hiding a monstrous experience. And Brene Brown said once, if perfectionism is in the driver's seat, which is what I had, then shame is riding shotgun. And I said, well, what do I have to be ashamed about? I flash back to the time, long story short, I was sexually molested when I was 8, and by my cousin. And she said, we're going to have a bath and we're going to do stuff. And when she taught me how to do stuff, she screamed at me. She said, no, not that way. Do it this way. And immediately, as an 8-year-old, and I joke and say, 8 years old, first time I've sexually disappointed a woman. Hooray, ha, 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 ha. But it's not funny, because what ended up happening was that stuck with me till my mid-50s, because every time I went to grab the brass ring, I'd say, okay, I'm going to go launch this business. But I'm hearing in my voice, no, don't do it that way. Do it this way. And I go, because I was so afraid to hear those words. Don't do it that way. So make it easy for yourself to shed the shame, to go see a counselor, go see a pastor, a priest, an imam, whatever it is you have to do, shed the shame. And then I really encourage you to go beyond your stuff. As step 3 is, most teachers teach you, okay, we're going to take you from where you are to where you want to be. I say, no. I want to take you from where you are to where you belong. Because so many of us, we say, oh, well, this is my goal. And that's what I said at the start of this class is, as I said, there's so many people that if I'm so successful, why do I feel like such a fake? Because they're not where they belong. They don't belong. Yes, they got to a certain level. But so step number 3 is to not to go where you want to be, but where you belong.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you, Barry. Christopher.
I would say that, you have to really, really know your why and your purpose, and be able to identify that in a way that allows the people you serve to know what they want. What is their why and what do they want to serve? It's being consistent with value and content that they feel that's compelling to them, that they can relate to. So when you can be consistent and connect with people when they can feel related to, and you can really drive to what they really want, that enrollment factor is going to increase more in your favor, because now they want something versus now looking at it from another way that it's going to cost me a certain amount of money, a certain amount of time, and I feel like I'm being sold to. So we have to understand our why. We have to be able to put out content that is consistent in terms of value, that gets people to see what they truly want. So you're empowering them to do that. Another one is knowing that you are never going to be everything for everyone. Too many people are going around chasing everyone. It's about identifying those core values and being something for someone, in this case, more than one person. And when you can really identify and connect with people on similar values, that is where you're going to build your business. And this is where you're going to generate referrals, where you'll do this from your sphere of influence and from existing customers that have had good experiences. So it's, again, learning how to control what you can and what you know and let go of the rest. I call it the process. Trust the process. Don't get tied up with the outcomes of selling someone. And, and then if you don't reach your goal, you get disappointed. Trust the process. Come up, do your part, empower people to do their part, and in the moment, let the process lead to the results you seek. And then finally, I'm going to leave a statement for everyone. And this is a powerful statement. If you can really, truly not only hear it, but actually implement it every day of your life, you'll see a huge transition over time in your personal life and your business to experience work-life harmony. It's a statement what I call give without expectation. And I'll explain what this means. Receive without resistance. Give without expectation. Receive without resistance. This means that you are giving value, giving service from a place of empathy and kindness. So that is an interdependent behavior tied to interdependent communication. There's a fine line, though, if you're giving from a place of pleasing and enabling, which is codependent. You are not really serving someone from that level. And many people get caught up in pleasing and enabling customers or people in general. Give without expectation from empathy and kindness, knowing when to put up a boundary when somebody crosses that line, and knowing that you will receive without resistance. Doesn't mean it comes from the source that you gave to, but knowing it will come back to you and you don't resist. It's the law of prosperity. And as you be able to, when that comes, you're not questioning where it came from. You receive with gratitude. It could be a gesture. It could be a pat on the back. It can be $1 million. It can be whatever, it doesn't matter. You are receiving without resistance with gratitude. And I can tell you that statement took me a long time to figure out, but when I did, it changed the quality of my life forever. And it's impacted so many clients that I've worked with over a period of time.
Thank you for that. That was great. And it is that impact that we make. At the same time, from what we do, it's critical, and everybody needs to know this. There is that piece of where is that fine line, right? And like people who work with me know, it's like you send me an email, bullet points. There's a fine line of how far, and then does it get into your own, first of all, consciousness, and is it messing up a little bit with where you're going and where you're doing? Or have you created a more of that codependent relationship where something's not right here? And that's a critical piece. Dame Shelley.
I would say the first thing, those are such great answers from both of you. It's like, hard acts to follow. All right, guys. But the first one I would say is asking yourself, who am I? Like, who am I? Not who people think I should be, not who I believed maybe I should be growing up, but as a person, who am I? Because success to me, I've seen a lot of people with a lot of money that are really miserable. And I've seen people in third world countries that have no money that are really happy. And not to say that either's right or wrong, but it's who am I? And, in all integrity and honesty and realness and authenticity, who am I? And what is it that I want that's fulfilling in my life? So that would be the first one. And it's a process. I believe it's the soul journey here in Earth School. Okay. And that's why I'm like, who am I? And I'm constantly uncovering who I am and constantly growing and constantly learning. The second thing I would say is gratitude and being able to have gratitude for the small things. So many times we look out and look at what we don't have or what we want, but haven't achieved yet. And there are so many small things around us, and sometimes I see in a lot of other countries, so little can mean so much to so many. And we have clean water, and I go to the refrigerator and I open it up and I go, I'm so blessed. I have food. Or just for the little things, oh, I can hear, I have eyes. I mean, whatever the heck it is, when it's a bad day, the list gets really long. Okay. I go through my gratitude list and I'm like, can wiggle my toes, like I literally count it all when it's like those interesting days. And the third thing is that limitations are a matter of perspective. We believe that, when I have $1 million, I'll do this. If I have a family, I can't have a career, or that the cost of success is going to be too high. Fear of success can sometimes be just as bad as waiting for something for you to move to go after something. And so really looking at what are our limiting beliefs. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. Anybody can be highly successful. Anybody can, whether it's relationships or money, or there are people out there that have achieved really great things in all these areas. And, some of them don't have education. Some of them, have handicaps. Some of them have no money. Some of them, they started out in all different ways. And so when you have your doubts, look to those that have done it, and really look at the leaders that have led things across the planet that have done great things, because they're no different than you or I. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome, because it's how we see the world, right? And that's the thing about one thing that we've done, and I think all of you have done that, is the traveling of the world and seeing. It's not just traveling on vacation. Those of us who spoke all around the world and met the teams and worked with the teams in all the different countries, Dame Shelley, we've seen it in a different way, and gone out to be of service to their population and help those who it's not less fortunate. Just drives me crazy, but those who just, it's a different situation.
I actually have a book that's coming out with Bob Proctor, and it's called Those That Serve Succeed, because sales is never about sales, and it's never about money. It's about service. And so many times people, they put their hand out, and the first thing people think is pay me. And it's like, what if we operated with, how can I serve you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole different come from.
Right. It is. And it changes everything that we do. And by the way, I've kept you guys longer than I said I would, but that's okay. Go if you need to. No, but this is good. I think it's a great conversation at this, and we'll wrap up here in a minute. But so, I come from, very much of service, and part of it really for me is also watching my wife for a long time, always being of service. It was less of my background, more of her background growing up. And so, what was it, 8-9 years ago, I'm working for the company, and we're putting this really tall guy on all around the world who speaks, and everybody knows who it is. Well, that's not true. You can walk down the street and only 1 out of 10 might. And they really say, okay, he's got this big crazy mastermind that's been going, since the 90s and blah, blah, blah. We would like something a little bit not as expensive. Can you build it? I said, yes, I can build that. And I did. And I built a whole day into each mastermind rotation of a day of service where we go out to them. They're like, they're not going to pay that money to do that, not work with the homeless, not the wounded warriors, not what you're proposing. And I'm like, yes, they will. They're like, if it doesn't sell, it's on you. And we sold it out every year for 7 years straight. So it's, people want that in their life. They want to be part of something greater. Sometimes they just are such in their own fear, or my God, I got to make the next dollar. You're so into that they just need the little bit of a kick, or they're young, they're 25, they're not seeing it. The money's flowing or the money's not flowing. And I think by what all you're creating is, we're creating a world that actually really takes care of itself. Mm-hmm. And we're making a difference from a high level to a different perspective, to getting into the trenches. I've dug poop. I mean, I'll say that. I've shoveled, I've moved, I've painted, I've built, right? And we've done and it's great when you're with a whole group who's paid a lot of money to be there, and they're like, I'm gonna do what? And it's changing that reframe for them. And I think to me, that made everything I've ever done worth everything. and then my grandkids know that that's happened.
And there's a relational currency that happens with like-mindedness and people that come together that
Right.
goes beyond.
Yeah.
That's right. It really
Yeah.
does.
Synergy.
Well, yeah, it is. I'm going to let you all go in a minute here because we're going to wrap up the stream. And so to work with this powerful group of people, again, it's ipowerteam.com/freedom, ipowerteam.com/freedom. And, at Power Team, we do this because we love what we do. All right. Let's not, so, and I haven't hit my 10,000 hours, by the way. I think I've just hit 5,000 hours on webinars. So I got a long way to go. So we got a lot of talking to do. But it's the kind of thing that you can see this panel stayed on longer than we told them we would be. I thought it was just flowing well, and I wanted our audience to capture it. We capture this obviously for future learning. And at the same time, you three, you're doing this on your own time. And I know kids are waiting, and some of you are on the East Coast, and party time and food maybe, and whatever it is, and you still showed up 1,000%. So from myself and Mr. Bill Walsh and Austin Walsh and Power Team, and Cheryl Brenner, of course, and Jen and the whole team, and I leave somebody out and I'll hear about it tomorrow. I want to thank you all for being on here tonight. Thank you for bringing your brilliance. And, if you ever need anything from us, please reach out. We're always there. And you guys just stepped in on this. Just in 20 seconds or less, anything you'd like to leave the audience with? And
I'm looking for lady leaders that are ready to make a global impact in the world. That's what I'm looking for.
And I would just say that again, trust the process, show up, leverage your strengths. Don't get caught up in your weaknesses. Get up in what you can control, let go of the rest, and let the results be a byproduct of the process. In time, it will all work out.
Awesome. Barry?
Well, I always challenge my audiences, especially our business audiences. I want you to serve the market in a way that it's never been served before. And when I had the honor of doing the Chicken Soup for the Soul book, I said, hey, they sell soup in cans. Why can't we sell soup books in cans? And so we packaged my book in a can. Okay, because we did. We partnered with Mark's wife, and you bought it. You got both of them. Okay, in there. What ended up happening is we sold 50,000 extra books because we put them in a can. So, so my new book, it's about to hit it's on the Amazons now, but it's called I'm Not Done Yet. Everyone Deserves an Encore. And it's got a Christian slant to it. It says how to come one step closer to God. So I encourage everybody to step inside and find out who they are and whose they are and serve at the highest level.
Right. I love it. You guys have all been amazing. And it's funny how there's all this interconnectedness. And I'm grandpa, so I always tell stories. But because you talk about Jack Canfield. Well, obviously, Mark Victor Hansen's been trying to steal Austin Walsh from us for years. So we told him no. And Jack, a good friend of Jack's, who's a really close friend of mine, Marsha Weeder, right? There's all these connections. Everybody's got connections. And we all know the same people, but we're branching out because even with what we've created and changed, let's say it's 1 billion people. What about the other 6 billion? Mm-hmm. That it's time to be served, and it's time to have them really take their lives to the next level and make a difference. And we still know it's only like 0.3% who have been reached. It's time to go. So get your missions out there. I'm honored to have all of you on tonight. And for myself, Power Team, and Bill Walsh, just thank you and have a great evening. And I'll let you guys go. Audience, stay on for a minute and then we'll wrap. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Barry. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being on the stream today. If you like what you heard and we have 300 events a year and we have 10 hours of virtual and you want to do more and have us be part of what you do right now, very simply text SBA to 26786. That will reach me directly. I will connect with you. We'll have a 15-minute powerful conversation. If you're a business owner, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you're ready to go, if you're ready to start, if you want to make a change now, if you want to make a difference in your life, if you listen to the people today and said, I can do this, yes, you can. You can write a book. You can get your voice out there. You can make a difference. You can reach that. Dame Shelley said she's looking for women global leaders. We've had so many great, powerful people on today. I want you to know that we're here for you. We're here for you. We're here all the time. We're here every week. We have the Global Elevation Summit. Cheryl, if you can type that quickly, the globalelevationsummit.com. Next Wednesday, we have a big day. We start with iHeartMedia and we go from there. And for those of you who don't know who iHeartMedia is, just think of iHeartRadio. And when you have 82 million listeners every day, you know something's going on. They'll be kicking off the event, and then we're going to have powerful speakers through the day. It's training, 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 and we want you to be there. The other thing, too, is tomorrow with the internet with Austin Walsh. It'll be a great place to be. I'm going to pull up Global Elevation Summit really quick if I can. Let me see if I can do this really quickly, and then I'll let you guys go, because I think it's important you're there. You're also, because of iHeartMedia, you're going to learn really what is going on right now. See, I can do this. Usually I can type faster, but it's later in the day. GlobalElevationSummit.com. But, it really is part of that. It's get the information, get the knowledge, and join the teams that are expanding, growing, and we're one of the big ones when it comes to events and putting speakers and training and teaching and social media and all that fun stuff. So for myself, Michael Silvers, head of global training for Power Team, Cheryl Brenner, Mr. Bill Walsh, our CEO, Austin Walsh, Jen, Paul, I could just go on and on and on, Dwayne, John, and the whole team. We thank you so much for Michelle. We thank you so much for being on. It's been an amazing, 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 amazing day. And we look forward to seeing you all. Austin's powerful call tomorrow. I think it's actually sold out, but just get on there and register quickly. We'll get you in. The Global Elevation Summit next Wednesday and our summits every Thursday. We are looking forward to changing the world, taking you with us, and have a great day. Text SBA to 26786. Everyone have a great morning, afternoon, or evening. Goodbye, everyone.